And there we go. We are officially live. Welcome to this year's first loss to the Texans Bowl. We have two teams who, they're good in their own right. They got a lot going on, but unfortunately, they don't hold a candle to C.J. Stroud. It is what it is. EJ, not everybody could be champions. It's okay. But you know what? They're solid clubs fighting for second place tonight on TNF. Should be a good game. Ideally, should be a good game. Much better than a lot of the other TNF games we've had so far this season. EJ, before we get into it and say our piece about all these matchups and everything, how are you feeling?
I'm okay. Good is a relative term. Even might be a better term. Got a bunch of injuries, which, this time of year is par for the course. The Saints don't like points. They don't like scoring them. They don't like giving them up.
Oh,
So
they like scoring them. They're just not very good at it. That's all.
5 out of 6 games this year, they haven't scored 20. So draw your own conclusions. But yeah, so it'll be an interesting matchup, probably an even matchup. I'm hoping for a good game. I'm always hoping for a good game. I think we're always hoping for a good game. We'll see how it works out. But how are you feeling tonight?
You know what? I've recovered from last night. The wife's out of town, and so she's out in Louisville for work. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go get ramen for dinner. I got a ramen shop. It's like a block and a half away from me. So I got some ramen, sat at the bar. It was excellent. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hit the actual bar, the whiskey bar on the way home. So I stopped by 7 Grand, which is named 7 Grand because it was over on 7th Grand. And I was like, I'm gonna pop in for a drink. And the bartender Adam happens to be a fan of the show, and I saw he was in there, and we were making drinks and chatting, and he's pulling out fun bottles and barrel picks that are like 120 proof. Next thing I know, I'm there for 2 hours, and I'm like 5 drinks in. There's a jazz band going. I'm having a grand old time. I look down on my clock. It's like 11. I'm like, what am I doing? I left 4 hours ago. So that was an intense recovery that I had this morning from last night. So I don't know if I'm going to be drinking any alcohol. But I feel good. I've popped the Excedrin. I've got my afternoon coffee. I've been doing research on this game all day to get ready for this broadcast. We were questionable, but we made it. Game time decision was a go.
Yeah, you got your release from it's not concussion protocol from use
Sure
protocol.
felt like it, though. Sure
Yeah,
felt like it. My
I
God.
bet. Well, Adam is very good at his job. I've been lucky enough to sit at that bar with you, and it's an enjoyable place to spend an evening, especially when a band rolls in. So we had that experience as well. That was great stuff.
I know Chad is eager to see who we got going on Underdog tonight, so I'm gonna get to that first before we start answering questions from the chat. EJ, I did not show you this entry
You never do.
before.
It's not really legal. I can't really pick anything in this state. So
Yet.
yet.
So what we got is Christian Kirk higher than 3 first downs. I anticipate a lot of man coverage from the Saints tonight because they have a very good secondary in their own right, and they do love playing man coverage. So I think one of the popular ways for the Jags to break man coverage is crossing routes and rub routes with Christian Kirk. So I think it's reasonable to say over or higher than 3 first downs for Christian Kirk. We got Travis Etienne at higher than 64.5 rushing. This one gave me a little bit of pause because the Saints front seven is really good, but at the same time, so is Travis Etienne. And he's the kind of running back where you kind of just need one. Like, I need one explosive play on the ground for him to crack this, and I think they're going to get it. It might not come till the second half, but I think they're going to get it because with a banged-up Demario Davis, who might just be a tick slow in terms of getting there outside, I would say Etienne has a decent shot. Josh Allen, higher than half a sack. If there is one area where the Saints have really struggled in the offensive line, it's at tackle, particularly at left tackle this year. They're banged up at tackle as well. Ramczyk and Hurst were both injured this week. I can't remember if either of them are. I don't think Ramczyk is playing. Hurst might be. I can't remember. But either way, both tackle spots have struggled this year, but particularly at left tackle. So I'm going higher on half a sack for Josh Allen. And then, as you can tell, in terms of who I expect to win this game and be in control of this game, I'm going higher on 31.5 receiving for Alvin Kamara. Check down city, baby. and also higher than 3.5 first downs for Chris Olave. The Jags have had some injury issues at corner. I don't believe Tyson Campbell is playing in this one, and even though we do love what Darius has done on the other side, in terms of who would match up better against a receiver like Chris Olave, it would be Tyson Campbell, and with him not playing, I feel pretty good about Olave in this one. Any complaints with this slip, EJ?
I have so many. No, actually, I don't have so many. The ETN line, I'm with you. It takes an explosive to get it. Josh Allen, love that one. As you know, I'm really high on Josh Allen, the pass rusher this year. Kamara, I can see that. I believe the Saints will be lagging behind. And yes, that is a way that they typically have tried to catch up to opponents in the past, is whip the ball to Alvin Kamara and hope that he breaks one, much like ETN on the other side. Olave, it's the first downs thing, man. I just can't wrap my head around first downs because it's so fickle.
It hits, though. It hits.
All right. All right.
First downs and yards after catch have been good to me this year, rather than overall numbers. So and you know what? You're not one to not believe in Chris Olave. So
I love Chris Olave. Everybody knows I love Chris Olave. And if you were talking about yards or catches or possibly even a touchdown, I might go with you. But first downs, I get this itch. I'm like, whoa, they can get a first down a lot of other ways after he gets 9 yards on a first catch.
Technically, they count touchdowns as first downs. So,
Oh, even better. There we go.
I dropped the entry into chat. If anybody's in chat and wants to match it, you just click on the entry in chat to do so. It'll take you right to it. Or if you're not already on Underdog, if you use promo code BOOTLEG on Underdog Fantasy, also linked in the description down below, they will match your deposit up to $500. So whatever you happen to deposit, whether it's $5, $10, or all 500 because you're feeling frisky, they will match it, they will double it, and you can use all that extra cash on Underdog doing whatever you want. But in particular, pick'ems with us every single week, because we do one every single week.
And if you want the big match, if you want the $500, that is a limited time offer. Say, yes. EJ, when is it going to end? I don't know. They haven't told us. That's the point. They told us that it's limited. So if you want it, get to it. People have been asking for it for a long time. They made that happen. We've been promoting the heck out of it. We think it's a tremendous offer. If you want it, don't just go, I'll do it next week. Might not be there. Might be there. Might not be there.
Hockey's in chat asked where the Fernet is. So he sent me some Fernet Branca. It's actually right up there. So if my stomach isn't killing me, I will be having some Fernet Branca in the second half. Infinitely more enjoyable than Malort and pickle whiskey. So I'm like actually totally good with doing like Fernet on the rocks. Like that's a perfectly enjoyable drink for me. So Hockey's, if you thought I was going to make a face, you're wrong. I love Fernet. Also very good in cocktails.
You're going to make a face. Yeah, you're going to make a face. It's just a smile for once, which, honestly, you deserve.
We have a tough job, EJ.
You make it tougher.
He said facetiously. Jeremy Thistle for $2. Jeffrey Thistle for $2. Thank you, Jeffrey. Hope this is a better game than it looks. I think it will be, and I think this game will be good, particularly because people don't have any expectations for it. And usually, especially when it comes to primetime Thursday games, the best games are the ones that you go into it where you're like, I just hope everybody has fun. Like, this is going to end up probably being a really good game because it's not supposed to be a good game. That's how I look at it. Derek Carr revenge tour starts now. Garrett Manitsas for $5. Thank you, Garrett. Apologize if I totally butchered the last name on that one. Boys, what the hell is wrong with the Saints? Oh, is it all Pete Carmichael? Oh, God, I'm turning into a Steelers fan.
It's not all Pete Carmichael. I watched the Saints game pretty closely last week, and Derek Carr was Captain Chuckett in that one. I have been a Derek Carr supporter, believe that he is what he is, but that's pretty good, and you can certainly win with it. That was not true last week. He was missing wide open guys. Sometimes he connects on tight window shots. He's a little bit like Kirk Cousins that way. When he heats up, he can make some very impressive throws. He made very few of those last week. Like, he missed pretty much everything last week. And when you're scheming anything up, if your quarterback is executing it that way, it doesn't really matter. Like, you could draw it up, but if he can't hit it, you're not getting anything out of it. So I wouldn't say it's all Pete Carmichael. It has not been great. As I said in the lead in, less than 20 points in 5 out of 6 games this year for the Saints. So they got to get it cleaned up. They haven't so far. Maybe tonight's the night, but Jags defense is pretty good, banged up or not. So maybe not.
I think their offense it does remind me a lot of the Eagles' offense. And we're talking about it on the show that's coming out tomorrow, I think it is, where the Eagles like line up and play iso ball. You know, they don't do anything the easy way because they have the talent where they can line up and just say we're better than you, right? It's we have AJ Brown outside. We're going to throw low percentage balls to AJ Brown. If you double AJ, we're going to throw a deep cross to Devonta Smith, or we're going to hit Goddard on endless stick routes as like, you know, the absolute last resort. And then we're going to run the shit out of the ball with a bunch of inside zone. And if we get close, we're going to do a tush push. Like it's a lot of iso ball. It's not very complicated. They're not doing anything flashy. They're not doing anything to like scheme up easy completions. It's just straight up, we're better than you. And the Saints play a similar style, but not with the same players. Like they don't have the same offensive line. They do have a better running back, but you know, other than that, I love Chris Olave, but he's not the same as AJ Brown. Their number 2 receiver is not the same as Devonta Smith. Their tight end situation is not the same as Dallas Goedert. And their quarterback situation definitely isn't Jalen Hurts. And in terms of Saints offensive players, 2 of them would start in Philly, maybe, depending on if you're doing 11 personnel or 12 personnel. And I think if you're lining up and you're playing iso ball, but you don't have the players to just go out there and absolutely fucking dominate everybody, then yeah, you're going to get results like this one. Like they don't use motion. They're incredibly static. They're not super complicated. They just line up and play, but without the dudes to line up and play. And I understand why that would be so frustrating for Saints fans, because you're like, can we do anything that Miami does to make Tua's life easier? And Carmichael's like, no, we will do nothing of the sort. So yeah, it's frustrating. Andrew Stanley for $5. Thank you, Andrew. Excuse me. Hey guys, I have another local Bama beer suggestion. This one is out of Huntsville. Straight to Ale Monkey Knot IPA, 7.2%. I'll be playing along. I will say this, EJ. I'm not an IPA guy. If you're asking me, what style of beer do you want? IPA is not the one I'm going to reach for. But I do appreciate a well-made one. There's a lot of breweries that I feel like they just make an IPA to make an IPA, and you're just being shotgunned in the face with hops. But a well-done IPA, a balanced IPA, a drinkable IPA, I have immense respect for it, because I feel like it's an easy beer to make, but it's a hard one to make well.
I would agree with that. I think that's a very fair assessment. And yes, beer drinkers, 15, 20 years ago learned that, those 3-letter letters were the way to, order beer fancy. So everybody, I can't tell you how many times I'm sitting in a restaurant and somebody says, do you have an IPA? And I'm like, of course they have a freaking IPA, man. Ask which one, it matters. But 7.2, that's getting up there. Another percent and a half, and you'd be talking about a DEPA. You'd be talking about a double IPA, which, yeah, depending on the flavor is fine, but you're getting a whole lot more alcohol. So I'm with you. IPAs, lots and lots and lots of them. Pretty much everybody has one. In fact, when you are starting out a brewing operation, it is usually one of the first beers that you're going to make, because everybody expects you to make it. And if you intend to sell any of that beer and you don't have an IPA, you've got a tough road to hoe. There are a lot of people that are going to be like, well, what's your IPA like? And if you don't have one, or these days, a hazy IPA, probably not going to sell a lot of beer. So I understand that. And that means there's a lot of choices, but it is hard to stand out. And I'm with you. It's hard to do. I would agree that it's hard to do well, but when you find one, they're great.
I'm just waiting for red ales to have their era because I want everybody to make red ales and not everybody does, and it pisses me off. I'm like, that's like the best. That's my favorite beer, and nobody makes reds. It's really annoying.
Dude, you come up. I did not know that reds were your favorite. I knew you liked Red Trolley, but I didn't know reds were your favorite because there's a really good red like half a mile that way up at a place called The Rock, which is a pizza place and pizza and burger place with all musically themed names for all of their dishes, but they make a rock steady red. They brew their own beer. It's called Rock Steady Red. Excellent red. And then Silver City Red, Ridgetop Red Ale officially is also excellent stuff.
Ooh, okay. Well, next time I come up, which, I mean, if Washington
we'll do a
keeps
little
doing-
red tour.
If Washington and Oregon keep doing Washington and Oregon things, I'm gonna have to come up for that game every single year. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
Kel for $5. Kel's first. Brett, I love you. If people start dropping crazy super chats trying to convince you to do absent shots, don't take the bait. Trust me, I'm not. I will respectfully refund their money if they so choose. If they're paying me to do the absent tonight, I could probably do Fernet Branca. I definitely can't do absent tonight. My body will shut down and reject it immediately after last night.
That will be violent shudders. We don't want to see that. Well, I don't want to see that. I mean,
They might want to see it. But
there might be some people that want to see that, but they and I are not the same.
Zachary for $5. So given Brett's state, EJ is going to do the shots whenever the Saints score or whenever T-Law turns the ball over. Yeah, EJ.
Nope.
Why don't you take one for the team, huh?
Not a chance. I had that phase. Hey, I'll do that for money. No. Nope.
My kids are watching this. I can't do that.
There is the whole like, oh yeah, I actually have to do stuff tomorrow portion of that. And, recovery times grow as you get older. So it wouldn't just be one day. It'd probably be like a day and a half if I attempted to do your high wire act. No, not in the program tonight. Definitely have a shot at some point during the game because, hey, I've got a good bottle of something over there. But in terms of like, dance, monkey, dance. Like, nope, not happening.
Echo Warrior for $10. Hey, y'all, I hope you're having a good night. Do you see the Broncos coming and getting Taysom Hill during the offseason? I know he's a Saints legend, but I could see Peyton wanting his guy. I could see it happening just because Sean Payton loves him. Would it make an appreciable difference on the Broncos? Probably not. And I think they have much bigger problems to solve than not having a Swiss Army knife on their offense that plays tight end and receiver and quarterback and running back and. Like I don't think Taysom Hill is the missing piece here, and I don't even think Sean believes that Taysom Hill is the missing piece. And to be perfectly honest, if he was gonna try to get a younger Taysom Hill, he'd probably go get that Montana State linebacker / running back / quarterback that came out a couple years ago that everybody loves so much. But I mean, could it happen? Yeah, it could happen. I think the Broncos have such bigger problems, especially bigger problems that they are going to have to try to solve while spending as little money as humanly possible. Because if Russ is gone after this year, it's an $85 million cap hit. So they're going to have to moneyball this thing next year.
Yeah.
And I don't think Taysom will be, quote unquote, cheap enough to play moneyball with,
He's certainly not cheap, and I'm not sure after this season how much shine Peyton has to go say, do my bidding. I'm telling you, it'll work out. I'm not sure how much pull that's going to hold in the building. And that's a rough spot to be in with a head coach that you just paid a whole lot of money to and a bunch of draft picks to get. Like, to be 1 year in, not even completely, and have him go, guys, I got a great idea.
I have the solution.
And they're like, no, man, no, we've seen the solution. It doesn't look very good. We're not going further down this particular hole with you. So it is possible. Problem is Taysom is really expensive. Sean made that happen before he left New Orleans. I don't know. If he was willing to take a pay cut to work with his former coach, which I wouldn't recommend in the NFL because careers are really short. Maybe, but I don't think there's a high chance of that happening.
Max Robinson for $10. Oh, great. 3 hours of a movable object versus very stoppable force. Can't wait. Also, I missed last week, unfortunately, but I cannot imagine it was topped by the absolute all-timer from Brett 2 weeks ago. The pickle whiskey sure came close. It was not great. It wasn't Malort, but it was not great. And it's something that it's cocktail only whiskey. I will have to find something that chili pickle flavored whiskey will go in and be tolerable.
Chris has got something.
A cocktail specifically for this?
Yeah, no, he mentioned he already makes something with that.
On purpose?
To be fair, we're talking about our buddy Chris from Rock Pile Report in Buffalo, who, when I posted a picture of that and said, guess what? He was like, oh, I use that for blah, blah, blah. And I was like, of course you do.
More power to him. That's a mixer only. That's like that one whiskey when you came down to my old house and we smelled it. We're like, oh, that smells really good. And then we tasted it and we're like, oh God, okay, that's cocktail only. Like that's just gasoline.
Crazy because it's by a place that makes really good beer. And we're like, oh, they're getting into craft spirits as well. This is great. And it was not a cheap bottle. It's
like $40.
Yeah, it was more than that, I think.
Yeah.
But anyways, not an inexpensive bottle. And from a name we knew, we were very excited. I took the neck pour. I was like, yeah, this is going to be oh, wow. Yeah, no. Yeah. You were like, what, really? And I was like, yeah, really, no. Like, this is, in the parlance, young.
I don't know how long they aged it for, but
30 seconds at least.
You just kind of pass it through the barrel, and that's about it.
I think they held it near a barrel for a bit and then shipped it.
All right, they're asking for the Underdog entry again. I know a lot of people came in later, so let me throw that up again real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got Christian Kirk higher than 3 first downs. We have Travis Etienne higher than 64.5 rushing. Josh Allen higher than half a sack, especially because the Saints tackles are very, very vulnerable. So this is actually one of the ones that I feel best about is Josh Allen. We have Alvin Kamara higher at 31.5 receiving, and Olave higher at 3.5 first downs. This entire entry is crafted around the expectation of the Saints not being able to run the ball, having to throw, and the Jags being in control, which naturally means they're not going to be because I have high expectations for them, and that's what happens when I get high expectations for the Jags. But other than that, it seems like a fairly congruent entry here. I'll throw the link in the chat, by the way, while EJ gives his thoughts.
And did you insure it? They asked.
I did insure it, yes. So we only need 4 out of 5 to win.
Good deal. I'm going to take Jared's for $2. Jared, thanks for being with us again. Trade options for Cleveland at the deadline. I'm going to throw out a chaos grenade for this one. In what that means for translation is it will never happen, but holy crap, would it be fun?
Okay. For the Browns specifically?
Yep.
Okay.
Cousins.
Do they have the money?
No. Of course not. And they have $1 billion tied up, well, $250 million tied up in a guy that's playing like garbage. So again, this is fantasy. It will never happen. But if I had to take a player that has been rumored to be on the move, he's not moving, like Minnesota's said.
I'll tell you what, though, like, assuming Deshaun, like, if this shoulder thing turns into a lingering thing, like, that team would win the Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins.
That's what I'm saying in terms of just a fun result of take a player that, theoretically could be moved. Don't believe Cousins is going to be moved in reality. But if he was, put a capable quarterback on the Browns behind a very good offensive line with a strong running game, some great receiving options, and a defense that is completely 100% lights out, possibly one of the best, the very best in the NFL. Like, that team rolls to some wins. You still get the cold Cousins games, but the defense might bail them out. Defense and or running game might bail them out. But you get a few microwave Kirk games down the stretch, and yeah, he takes that team deep into the playoffs.
So Jared says Watson is healthy. He's playing against Indy. And I think, okay, yes, playing against Indy, playing well against Indy. Look, can he throw? And that's the question here. It's not, oh, can he suit up? It's can he throw more than 10 yards? You know, like
I love it. I love it when people bring stuff like that up. It cracks me up. It happened a bunch with me this week in the Bears, and we were talking about center. And somebody came in. I was saying, look, I'm out on Cody Whitehair as a center because, snaps are a circus. There's at least 3 or 4 per game that are, you got to make some kind of crazy basketball catch to grab it. Like, that's not my idea. Somebody came in and said, oh, Lucas Patrick and snap will be fine. And I was like, yeah, but there's that troublesome blocking thing. And you can't do that. So what does it matter if he can hit the quarterback with a snap and then get rolled over and, allow a 300-pound guy to go chasing after whoever's at quarterback? Like, it is the whole picture. You got to look at it together. And I'm with you on Watson. He might be there. He wasn't playing particularly well before he was injured. In fact, he was playing really poorly. So, if he is healthy enough to play, in quotes, that doesn't really mean much of anything. It means he's out there. Don't think the result is likely going to be better.
Financially, I don't think Kirk to Cleveland is possible.
No, I don't think so either.
From a pure play standpoint, like, it would be an upgraded quarterback for sure. I would say in terms of something that's more, that is more financially feasible, because that's the thing, they don't really have any like holes to fill other than offensive line depth. Like that's
sure.
It's just getting extra dudes that, because they've lost a couple guys to injury this year, and I feel like their depth has really struggled. I'm trying to think of who might be available in a trade that is quality depth that can actually start for them when their depth is tested, which it seems to be tested every single year. I'll have to think on that, but I would say offensive line trades are like the most possible thing for them. But Kirk is better than Deshaun.
Yeah.
Echo Warrior for $10. Last chat, I can afford this paycheck. Oh, buddy, man, if we're stretching you thin, I'll refund you right now. Like, I'm not out here to like.
Just ask the question.
I'm not out here to press your budget.
All right, but I can answer
bad.
this one. With how strong this QB class is there a chance Kedon Slovis for BYU goes undrafted? He was a first rounder after his freshman season, but has been inconsistent since. Yes to both things. He's been wildly inconsistent. He's had a lot of stops now. He's one of the most well-traveled college quarterbacks at a high level that I can remember in a long time. His play level has almost declined every year. He had a bit of a resurgence last year after a couple of down years after that freshman season that people noticed. His sophomore season was down. The next season was down. Last year was up. BYU this year, he is sort of just a guy, especially in a year when, as you mentioned, the quarterback class is going to be very strong no matter who declares. There's going to be a lot of guys. And I don't think it's possible that he goes undrafted, but he could be a day 3 and possibly even a late day 3 guy. He's really well known because he's so well traveled in all the coaching circles, and he's got connections to a lot of coaches, even NFL ones at this point. And somebody will go, oh, there's a thing there. Look, it's the middle of the 6th round or something. We'll just take him. Or,
Sean Clifford got drafted. Like, Slovis could get drafted. Will he be drafted high? No, but he could get drafted.
I think he's probably going to get drafted because of all his experience and because he does have some good tape out there. Is he going to be displacing any of the other quarterback names? No. And if he's got something we don't know about, injury history, any off the field stuff, he could go undrafted, which again, after that crazy freshman season, very high profile, would have seemed unthinkable. But again, progression isn't linear. It's more like a roller coaster, and it certainly has been with him.
Also, with quarterbacks in that range, a lot of coaches, their first thought is how well can he run the scout team, i.e. how well can he learn another team's offense in like 2 days to give us meaningful reps in practice. Like, that's a crucial skill that backup, in particular third string quarterbacks, have, is being able to mimic other quarterbacks and learn different language and learn different body language and signals and literally give meaningful, actual good reps to a defense in practice. If he can do that, yeah, he'll get drafted. All right, Jags coming up with their first snap here. Get a little shot of the leg brace on T-Law.
Saints starting with really strong run defense. I believe I'm ahead of you again this week. So I'll try not to
only
jump
like
out
2 or 3 seconds. So it's not bad.
Okay.
It's not bad.
I'll try not to jump out of my seat when good stuff happens. Max Robinson for $10. An actual text I got Sunday from a Saints fan friend who hasn't paid attention to the Texans. I don't want to be dramatic, but is CJ Stroud Peyton Manning?
He's gotten some lofty comps over the last month. I mean, I myself compared him to Drew Brees, which isn't that far off. He's smart. He's accurate.
What was our number for Ingram?
We didn't have Ingram. We had
it wasn't Ingram. Yeah.
I know that his was at like 41.5.
Boy.
Something like that.
Absolute bullet. Like Trevor does not look comfortable on his base, but that ball was a dime. That ball landed exactly where he wanted it to.
Did you notice that he kind of spun on his heel, not on his toe?
His base does not look awesome. But again, if he can distribute like this, it's going to work out just fine. That ball to Ingram was a dot. Hit him right in the hands above the defender. Perfectly placed ball to catch. And this little sort of sidearm flick to Etienne on the screen, again, it's just so fluid. Like he's just whoop right there. It's on him. Just let him go run. So many quarterbacks don't make that throw well. They short arm it. They don't pay attention to it. They put it in a bad location. Injured or not, that was 2 very good starts in terms of throwing the ball for Trevor.
Yeah, I'm going to be paying close attention to that plant foot because on the first one he spun on his heel. He didn't generate torque off of his toe, which tells me that maybe that's not super comfortable for him to do that. And in the second one, his left foot was completely off the ground anyway because it was just a little flick to Etienne. Something to monitor. We'll see. In terms of drive throws, either over the middle or to his right, that's going to be a different mechanism with the plant leg. So we'll see how he does on those. Because you can kind of get away with spinning on the heel if you're falling way to your left.
Holy cow. Okay. I feel better about it all of a sudden.
Okay. Yeah, you're definitely like 6 or 7 seconds ahead of me, but we'll see. So we got quarters. Okay. He just ran it.
Yeah, look at the burst too when he leaves. Like when he decided to take off, he just left. Like there was no like I'm comparing it to like Burrow trying to move in the pocket like 3 weeks ago when he was still hobbled. Like when he took off, it was like okay, I'm going to lean and get moving. That was just I'm going to run. Okay, I'm going to run now. I feel better about it at that point. Oh.
Who's down?
Alontae Taylor getting walked off.
Oh, that's a bad one.
My guess is he's going to be in concussion protocol. Oh, no, he might have just got hit in the face. He's holding his nose. But I think it might be both. They're probably going to check his head. Also, might have gotten smacked in the face.
I hope it's not. I hope he can come back because Alontae's been playing so well this year.
Yeah, he just mashed his face into his face mask. I know. I'm sitting here in my very comfy chair. He fell, face mask caught in the turf, and he basically rammed his face into his face mask, which a lot of guys this year, yeah, it hurts real bad. I've had it done, but it was forcefully. It wasn't the ground. It was somebody grabbing the face mask and jamming it into my nose. Not good stuff. A lot of guys aren't tightening those bottom chin straps on their helmets, and I'm really surprised that the league isn't cracking down because a helmet that isn't tightened down on the bottom, we see a lot of those helmets come off, even from somewhat lesser impacts. And also you get that happening. Your helmet moves around on your head a lot more. And, you can end up smacking your own self. And that's not great. But so many guys, I see those bottom chin straps aren't tightened during the play. And I'm surprised.
Seems very dangerous.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the officials don't go up and go, hey, man, you got to tighten those or you got to go off because of all the emphasis on player safety, head injuries especially, and all the helmets I see coming off. I was like, what? Why are we seeing all these helmets come off? And then I realized that, they're half tight. That's why.
Yeah, the hands to the face penalties have gone from lifting it to just straight up torquing it off the head this year.
Yeah.
All right, third and 6.5 for the Jaguars here in the red zone. I'm curious to see what kind of call we get from the Saints against this.
I actually like the call from Press Taylor there.
Are they bringing Tyron? Okay. So they brought a 3-man rush, dropped 8, but did it in a really exact. Oh, there's our first down for Christian Kirk. Like I said, it's money every time. Really interesting look where they kind of showed like it was going to be a 5-man rush, and they dropped out, only brought 3. That's a fun little look.
Yeah, they basically used a clear out release out of the tight bunch, trips right, and threw the second guy in the wake. Oh, what a great call. Keep your feet. Keep your feet. Dude, you're wearing gold shoes. Keep your feet.
Man, that was in, too. He just caught him by a shoelace.
I know.
He had that one. They're going to want that back. That's a good call.
Yeah. It's a great call to get Agnew against Cam Jordan one-on-one in space to get the edge, right? And that's the player that you're trying to define that play for. What are we doing about this guy that we're not blocking? How do we think we're going to get around him? And the answer is we're going to run a wide receiver at him. Oh, okay.
So we got another bunch, a loose bunch to the left. And they just zone read it into it, and ETN scores. Let's go.
Yeah,
I think it was his first rushing yards for ETN tonight. It was right there. So
yeah, it's a big boy touchdown for the Jags. Like, we're gonna line up and just run it, like straight up run it. We're gonna try and get 2 duo blocks, and ETN's just gonna push. He actually didn't even take the gap between the 2 duo blocks.
God, look at the movement. They got
that
up front.
That is a straight up big boy touchdown by the Jags. That's impressive stuff.
To get that kind of vertical displacement on a nose and a 3 technique right next to each other. Hell of a job by the Jags O-line.
Yeah, I would agree.
Jay Cornett for $5. Pats fan here. If we tank, tanking implies that tanking implies that they have any sort of decision about whether or not they're going to lose games. Yeah. This is against their will. Okay, so it's not even really tanking; it's just being bad. Can we guarantee that Bill will draft a QB and not trade back for a day 3 O lineman? Thank you guys for being awesome. Let's just say this: if the Patriots end up with a top 3 pick against their will, I would not be surprised if Bill, quote unquote, retires. They're not going to fire him, but I think they would give him the opportunity to retire. And in that case, Bill wouldn't be the one making the decision. It would be whoever the new GM/coaching combination is. And if they are in position to get a Drake May and they don't take a Drake May, all those guys are going to get fired anyway. So I'm going to say no, they're not going to pass for a quarterback. And also no, I don't think that Bill's going to be the one to make that decision anyway.
Well, I'll disagree on 2 points because Bill might, and let me just sell you on this idea.
Okay.
They've already got the guy in place. 2 for 1. GM and coach, Bill O'Brien.
Oh, fuck. I speak from experience, folks. You guys see the logo on my chest. I speak from experience. You don't want that.
I just had to. I'm sorry. So
now,
Bill might, but other Bill.
If he does trade a 2nd-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins to bring it full circle, though, the comedy would kind of be worth it.
The jokes would write themselves. So,
let's see. Ooh, scrolled right past a whole bunch of them. Thank you, OBS, for completely moving around my chat. Love when that happens. I literally just had it.
I have not yet begun to cook, but thanks, Bearden. I appreciate that. Somebody's picking up what I'm putting down.
Liam Briggs, what's your all-time favorite? EJ, what's your all-time favorite Chicago Bears moment And why is
Oh,
it
man.
unnecessarily trading up to get Mitch Trubisky?
Oh no, that was not my favorite all-time Chicago moment. Although I did back it at the time.
If you're a
I
Chiefs
thought that
fan,
was
that's your favorite Bears moment for
well,
sure.
I I thought it was a solid move at the time, and I had not yet come to take into my soul the fact that Chicago will ruin all quarterbacks, regardless of where they come from or how good or not good they might be. Now, we'll see if they can't break that streak. I think major changes are needed in order to break that streak. All-time favorite Bears moment. Since the Saints are playing, I will say Walter Payton setting at the time the all-time NFL rushing record. He set it against the Saints. And this is a shoot your shot moment, bootleggers. I told my mom about that years later. I was like, man, that was so cool. I love that moment. I wish I could have gone. I was a high schooler at the time. And she was like, I wish you would have told me that was so meaningful. We would have tried to get you there. And like, I grew up without a lot of means, and a lot of stuff like that never happened. So it never even occurred to me to say, Walter's getting really close to the rushing record, and it would be really cool to go to Soldier Field. Not that I could have gotten a ticket at all, but like, this was years later. My mom was like, you should have told me when it was, we could have got you there. I was like,
I wish I knew that.
So shoot your shot. Ask for what you want. You never know. Somebody might just step up and say, hey, sure. Like, let's go.
So if you too want to go to Soldier Field this year to watch the Bears attempt to play football, don't let your dreams be dreams. Okay? Talk to your mom and dad.
Tickets are available. Operators are standing by now. Oh, man. Yikes.
All right. Saints trying to answer here. They're definitely trying to get Kamara involved.
Ooh. They got him involved.
We didn't say they'd be successful at it, but they are going to try.
Well, it is successful. I mean, it's a first down. Come on. He
he
caught it and got about a quarter yard of yak before he found somebody in his face mask.
2 targets on the opening drive so far for him. I imagine that he might get a fair bit more than that tonight, because other than Olave.
Oh, boy. Carr split out wide. This should be fun.
Oh, are we doing a Wildcat already? Are they that desperate?
Kinda.
All right. Yeah, I'm definitely 7 or 8 seconds behind you. Let's see what they got. Let's see if future Broncos legend Taysom Hill can get him going.
Yeah, that would be a direct hit.
I'll tell you what. If you want to pay $10 million for 8-yard gains just like that one, he's your guy. Go get him, Sean.
Yeah, we're just selling all the good stuff tonight. Bears tickets, Taysom Hill on your roster. Oh my goodness.
What can go wrong?
Oh, so many things. Now, what we haven't yet sold is Taysom Hill on the Bears roster as a quarterback, and I'm gonna say this out loud at this point. Given the current healthy quarterback roster for the Bears, I might take Taysom Hill
over Bajent.
Your choices right now are Bajent, who I'd like to see some more from, but people are lauding his first performance as if he has ascended directly to another plane after turning it over horribly twice into half. Then you have the immortal at this point, Nathan Peterman. Yikes. And they signed ... Trace McSorley.
Well, so, Derek Carr is out there running around like he's Trace McSorley. Can we talk about him shaking people out of their shoes? Old man Derek Carr can still move a little bit.
Speaking of this, did you see Aaron Donald on the run stop this last week? So he's mirroring the running back. He's Donald moving to his left, running back moving to his right, and Donald is like mirroring him, chasing him, and he gives him the dead leg.
Oof.
He's like, oh. It's like, wait, you're not a running back. You're a defensive tackle. Like,
he's Aaron Donald. He's not just a defensive tackle.
He can do what he wants, but I mean, I giggled out loud when I watched that on film. I was like, okay, Aaron, you just do what you do.
We got Drew Brees in attendance. Let's go.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. We can chalk one off the list.
Oh, are we getting...
I believe that our stat for Olave was more than 3.5.
Yeah, higher than 3.5 first down. So there's at least one.
All right. Well, that is now higher than 2.5 because we already got one.
Let me see where we're
And
at.
they won't take those away, which I suppose is a good thing about using first downs as the stat of mark, the stat of record. Is that once you get one,
those lovely stat corrections.
Yeah, you can't get tackled for a loss of first down later on. However, you can get tackled for a loss of yards.
All right. So, recapping. Let me adjust that.
Oh, goodness. Fitzy, thanks for being with us tonight. Andrew Fitzpatrick for $9.99. Another Bears story with a message: never purchase game tickets before the season starts. They get cheaper. The inside joke here is that Fitzy bought himself a fine number, greater than 4, tickets to the Broncos-Bears game in Chicago this year in the offseason.
I don't think you could pay people to go to it this year.
He invited me. We were in Texas, so I couldn't go. But no, big shout out, Fitzy. Appreciate it, and have a good time with JB. I heard that JB is coming up to New York City in a couple days. Gonna hang out with you and probably watch a little bit of the Bears game on Sunday.
That's awesome.
So
say hi to JB for me. He's a great dude.
That's awesome.
Ah, man, Carr missed that one. Left it behind Olave. If he just puts that on the front shoulder, he's still running, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the story of last week, and here you'll see what happens. Ends up taking a hit off target throw, not necessarily his fault, more the protection's fault, but the one before that, clean miss, right? And there were a bunch of those on film last week that were to the point of frustration, to the point of, hey, who else do they have? And it's Taysom Hill. I get it, but is Taysom going to hit more of those? And you start thinking, maybe. I think he might.
Even though he's not a top-paid quarterback, though, any quarterback in the NFL, it's a crossing route against man. You lead it to the front, the one spot they can break up that pass. The only way they can break up that pass is if you throw it. If you throw it behind him, you're literally just throwing it to the DB. So it's I don't know, 10 years in the NFL, making the money you're making. Yeah. Oh God, and they missed the kick too. This just looks exactly like last week. You're driving, and then Derek Carr has a bad ball, sets up a field goal, and they miss it. This exact thing happened against Houston multiple times.
Yeah, it's an inauspicious start, I think, is the best way to characterize this for New Orleans. Jaguars looking fairly well-oiled on the first drive, operated efficiently. Doesn't look like the knee's bothering Trevor. They even get a power rushing touchdown against what typically has been a very solid Saints defense. Everything worked for Jacksonville on the first drive, and the first couple of New Orleans drives, not a lot has worked. A few things. We've seen, first down to Kamara. We saw first down to Olave. Those are both nice plays. They're going to need to string more of those together. But again, if you sort of take the early snapshot here and say, continue these trends out, this is a Jacksonville win and a New Orleans loss, unless fates change, which they often do in the NFL. I understand that.
Mono for €5, excuse me, says, what are some ideas you're toying with for the film room after the Matt Canada episode that I'm working on right now, besides the importance of first downs? So other topics that I'm working on right now, I'm working on a Jalen Carter episode for the NFL channel. So that one's going to go out on the NFL channel. But our wonderful editors, Autumn and Jay are going to take care of that one for the NFL, because the NFL is super loaded right now with stuff, and they don't have the edit staff to spare. So we're going to handle it for them, and they're sending me a whole bunch of cool footage to use for it.
Ooh, fancy.
In terms of what's going on my channel, the first down one is going to be in the background. I'm also still working on the Vic Fangio episode as a collaboration with Coach Vass. I'm still thinking I might do a Bryce Young episode, but I want to get a few weeks into the Thomas Brown experience at OC, so maybe I can do a what's different than the Frank Reich play calling experience compared to Brown, what's better, what's worse, is everything better? Did nothing improve. Like, I want to see a few games of this before I make an episode on it, but there will be something Bryce Young related at some point. I wanted to do an Anthony Richardson episode at some point this year, but we never really got enough snaps of him to make that happen, so that's unfortunate. Let's see, what else? I'm doing a Broncos episode in December. Not entirely sure what about yet, but it is a Broncos episode because we'll be out in Colorado. I don't want to just do a whole bunch of different depressing topics. I want to do something positive, like something cool. So if you guys have any ideas for a positive storyline for me to highlight, I'm open to suggestions. Absolutely.
Dude.
Great ball from Trevor.
Kinda. I mean, yes, but the aftermath is silly.
Are they calling this a fumble?
They did, and I don't know why, because he is.
I thought his knee was down. Is it not down?
Oh, his knee was down and he wasn't touched. They're correct.
Oh.
I'm glad they didn't blow the whistle there. At first I was like, dude, he's down. What are you doing? This is just letting people run into each other for no reason. He got up without being touched while he was up.
And then it got forced. Man.
And the Saints picked it up. That's a big turn. And
then two Jaguars players knocked it out of each other's hands too. Like they would have got it back.
Yeah, that's just a fated play that the Jaguars were not gonna get. And Trevor is suitably disgusted because he absolutely drilled that. Oh, it's Paulson and Debo. Former Paulson and Debo truthers assemble. Just me? Okay.
I think good ball skills.
Yeah.
And clearly good at punching the ball out too.
It's the Fresh Prince gif. I'm just standing in the living room like
just me.
All right, just me. That's cool.
Oh yeah, the one Stanford alum that we have watching this stream is gonna be like, I told you.
Nah, I really like Paulson Debo coming out. I thought he was very underrated, and he had a very cool, slow start for his first 2 years, and I was like, okay, but I think he made some plays. He's a value player to me. He's got good size, nose for the ball, so I appreciate it.
I hate this because now we have to watch more of the Saints offense. That's good. I like that.
Okay.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Never wrong, EJ. Just early. Oh no, I've been wrong. Let's be honest about that. About a good many things. You don't get to be in this business and have any thoughts on anything and not be that. Although maybe in the second half, if things get wildly out of hand, I will share a take that was shared with me about the futures of this year's quarterback class that. I don't know. Just consider yourself lucky that I'm not on IR because I almost swallowed my tongue.
All right, we got Taysom Hill in motion in the slot. He's getting a lot of work tonight. Trying to get the most out. Oh, Derek. That wasn't even a good idea to attempt it, let alone let it go.
Why did you even think that? Much less do it.
I mean, defender was driving on it before it even left his hand.
And, I mean, honestly, when he thought about throwing it, the guy was bracketed.
All right, so it's a quarters look. Safety's driving on the bender. And it was high.
This is the new strategy.
What's the new strategy?
The new strategy as a gunner is to take your man and slam him into the returner as hard as you can.
Is that dude dead?
No, he's moving. He's got his head up, which is really good. But as you can tell, I'm like, this is the new strategy. This happened on Sunday as well, and the league's going to have to figure out how they're going to call this. Because right now, that's a completely legal play. You can take your defender and just drive him into a guy that's called for fair catch. Like, that is a completely legal play. It's the second time it's happened in 4 days.
Holy shit, he got...
he got
annihilated.
Yep, helmet to helmet, but it was his own teammates' side of helmet.
And you saw he was literally it was like walking somebody into a street light. He was like, I'm aiming this guy's body at you.
100%. And this is this is a legal play. And on Sunday, it was not quite that blatant, but everybody around the league that plays special teams saw that on Sunday and went, oh, wait, I can't touch him, but I can drive my guy into him, who is, typically running with me. It's not like an offensive line, defensive line thing where one guy's static and, stands and bows up. Like, you're both moving down the field at high speed. If I redirect that guy into his own player, we get a chance at the ball, and that's up and up. Like, the rules say that is fine.
Yeah, the league's going to patch that. That from a player safety standpoint, they're going to patch that.
I don't know that they do. I don't think this is a place where they have to change the rules. Special teams coaches have to tell guys, look, know where, if you're turning and running with your guy, know where the returner is, and you got to shut off 5 yards short, which they should do for the most part anyways, because if your guy's waved his hand, which you won't know as a blocker on a return team, you're not going to know that, but you're going to have to pull up short, because other than that, the special teams coach has got to say, don't get driven into your own guy. But you get close,
or the returner is going to have to be yelling so that anybody around him can hear of and not sort of like a poison call, right? Like where they're calling out poison, everybody get the fuck away from the ball, like similar to that, 100%. Where it's like you hear your returner yelling, you stop. Stop moving.
I just think it's like, take the powder out of the cannon, right? If you might be used as a weapon against your own returner, like remove yourself from the equation, stop short. Like, don't get in that position where you end up running your own returner over because you weren't aware. You're going to have to get your head on a swivel. It's kind of like when they made the rule a long time ago that you had, get your head around and see the ball, or else it was going to be, a pass interference. Everybody was like, well, it's not fair. It's like, well, yes, it's an added responsibility, but that's how you're going to have to play it. And if you don't do that, we're going to call you for it. And it's going to be a very similar thing with blockers on the specialty, because this has happened. Like, look, there's so many fair caught punts where nobody can do anything, but folks on the kicking team are going to be looking to do this because it's effective. And if you can manage, you get the ball back on the 18. This is a huge swing for the Saints. I mean, strategically, if you're talking about explosive plays.
Did he raise his arms high enough to consider that calling for a fair catch?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have the game audio on, so I don't know if they were talking about that as a legit fair catch symbol or not. But even if you put your hands up for fair catch, you can still have your own guy driven into you. Yeah. That is legal.
Because he went like this, but I don't know if they consider, like, it's not like that, right?
And it doesn't matter because Isaac Udom didn't hit him.
Yeah, it's more so like, I'm just wondering if they would have even considered that.
Yeah. Right. A murky.
Yeah. Oh, Olave's got a billion yards of space. Please give it to him. Oh, they're walking Trayvon Walker out. Interesting. All right. Kamara with a little screen. Get me some of that yardage. We love to see it.
Fitzy's giving us super chats for Aussie punters.
Aussie punter
unfamiliar with Fitzy. Fitzy is an Aussie.
Australians, honestly, are like the one team that I'd be worried about for like Olympic flag football. Because A, they can kick the hell out of the ball. And B, all their rugby players are just as hard to tackle as our football players. Like, Australia, I think, could give us a rough time. New Zealand probably could give us a rough time, too.
Yes.
But not many other countries could.
That whole thing where, like, pro players want to go play flag football, I just think it's hilarious. Just for the pure chaos factor, like, I want to see, like, Japan win the inaugural gold medal for Olympic flag football.
I want to see New Zealand run the All Blacks out there against the NFL players, and let's just settle this. Let's just see. Watch Mac Jones shit himself when they're doing the haka.
It doesn't count, but that was still awesome.
All right. Let me see what we got here.
The catch. Let me be 100% clear. The catch is awesome. The throw is not particularly awesome.
Oh, the catch was sick.
Oh, he missed it by like 4 inches with the other toe.
That's like a Keon Coleman catch.
Yeah, except Rashid Shaheed is significantly shorter than Keon Coleman.
That's an amazing catch. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I love me some Rashid Shaheed. He was one of those, and we haven't talked about him, so we need to in our summer preview episode. I was just like, Rashid Shaheed. Like, we can't go the whole episode and I can't without me saying his name. Like, he's a really good player. And he's, he's
If
an integral part of their attack. I would like to see what he would do as a number 3 on a team with, like, I don't know, insert great quarterback here.
a back shoulder fade, you have to have a better call on 3rd and goal than a back shoulder fade to Michael Thomas. Like, there's got to be something better.
So and thrown really flat, like really flat, like not trying to drop it in any bucket, just trying to throw it, like, I guess, through the defender. Not sure. Don't love that call either. I'm with you there.
And the thing is, from that release, or from that split, I should say, when you're that far inside and you're running the back shoulder fade and you're going out to the pylon, it's basically the same depth, and for the DB, it's the same movement as just covering a little flat route, right? Because again, when you're talking about a split being that far inside and you're running the fade, like, you got to go super wide and super flat and almost kind of like circle back to the ball. Or you have to like press the corner up the field and then kind of fade back into it. But I feel like from that split, what?
You can't just run it in a straight line and throw the ball like laser flat through the back of his helmet?
No, probably not.
Really?
But the thing that Derek needs to understand, and I know he understands this, but the thing that Derek needs to do is that when the DB is playing through the back shoulder, right? Because Mike's literally just doing like a little burst release outside, and then his head is immediately turning, so the DB's like, oh, they're trying to run a back shoulder on me. When the DB is running through the back shoulder, you throw it with air to the back pylon because the DB's already behind you, and then you let Mike just run under it to the back pylon and trust him to adjust because he can see the ball and the DB can't. So, like, there's still ways to throw that without throwing it at the corner. I don't know.
Yeah,
Frustrating.
not super great. And I think this is a theme for the last 2 or 3 weeks for us in the recaps, in the previews, Thursday night streams as well. Red zone play calling has been, or is, I should say, I don't want to say it's at an all-time low because I don't have anything to back that up. It is at a low ebb for a lot of offensive coordinators. They seem to go, hey, man, we ran 3 plays and we didn't score. And you're like, yeah, but one of your plays was sprint right option. Like, that doesn't count. Like, What are you doing? What are you doing? Yes, you ran 3 plays.
It's a cop-out play.
Only none of them had a chance. Like, that's not – and I'm surprised, and I'm not sure why it is, but there are multiple teams in the NFL whose especially, like, deep red zone play calling has been, like, beyond plain. Vanilla, it's a slight to vanilla to call them vanilla. Like, vanilla is a great flavor if you're in the mood for it, and there's nothing great about those OCs calling those plays in the deep red zone because they basically have no chance. They've got like a sliver of a chance, 10%, and they just kind of run them and run off the field and go, I don't know, I guess kick the field goal. Like, I don't know. Some of them
tried, guys. Sorry.
Some of them go on 4th down, but they run the same kind of, cardboard stuff that isn't going to beat anybody. And then they're like, I don't know, we took 4 shots at it. We didn't get anything.
Yeah.
And it's not even maddening to me because, it's not like I have a rooting interest in a lot of those teams. It's perplexing that, look, they all have access to everybody else's tape. Like, none of this is a secret. You can dial up anybody's play from any week on any team that you want, and it takes you 10 seconds to do it.
Some coaches, they think that they don't need to steal, and it's like, no, you need to steal. Everybody needs to steal. That's how you stay good.
yeah, you need to go around and look and say, hey, what do we have for personnel? And I agree. The Saints offensive personnel, it's limited. Like, it's not like they have 5 good options in a red zone play. They probably have 2.5,
Yeah.
maybe. But hey, go find some plays that highlight those 2 options from other teams and say, hey, this isn't really, all that much different than what we do, or we could run it out of this formation that we're already familiar with. Like, go get some ideas. Don't just keep running your head against the wall, not scoring, being 25th in red zone efficiency, and not change anything. Like, not great.
As the Jags are driving now, bringing up 3rd and short, JJ for $5. Something that's intrigued me with the Saints is their defense bad? Something that's intrigued me with the Saints is their defense is bad. The drop off in turnovers after reading Chauncey. Okay, I'm going to interpret that as the Saints defense isn't turning the ball over without Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. That's how I'm going to interpret that question.
Sure.
I apologize if I read that wrong, JJ. It's interesting because they have a bunch of DBs that on paper have really good ball skills, but they're not really getting picks. Like Alante's got fantastic ball skills. Paulson Adebo, as a former receiver, has ridiculous ball skills. We know Marshawn, he had a really nice pick a few weeks ago. You would think that they would be getting more turnovers because all their corners can catch really well. But at the same time, with all the man they play, all these corners are not necessarily getting eyes on the quarterback to be able to track the ball in and go get it. So I think the lack of turnovers is really more about them playing so much man coverage and not as much zone, rather than just them not being good. And I look at Cleveland, they haven't forced a lot of turnovers either. But that's also because they play a shit ton of man, and so their DBs are more focusing on breaking up the pass rather than catching it. So I think for man-heavy defenses, that's always going to be a thing. And as problematic as zone-heavy defenses can be sometimes, in terms of just allowing dinks and dunks and dinks and dunks and, allowing quarterbacks to just work their way down the field with sometimes little to no resistance. At the same time, those zone-heavy defenses tend to force a lot of turnovers because if a ball gets tipped in the air, you got 7 dudes on the back end with eyes on it that can go get it. Or if a quarterback misses a read, he might throw it directly to a defender that's looking right at him. So it's a give and take, but I wouldn't necessarily say that the Saints' lack of turnovers is indicative of them not having good DBs. It's just what their DBs are asked to do. I hope that made sense.
Makes perfect sense to me. Wyatt Martin said, so the Saints recovered a fumble, went 3 and out, then recover a muff punt to 15, and they still only managed 3 points. Lol.
Welcome to the Saints.
Yep. You nailed it. Absolutely.
Same exact thing happened last week.
So while I'm not going to take shots for money, since I'm going to drink another beer anyways, we should let the people vote.
Okay. What are the options?
Modelo with lime and salt.
Okay.
That's like in the can. I'm not modifying that anyway. This wonderful Icicle Brewing Company Dirty Face Amber Ale, which was my first one. That's brewed right up in Leavenworth, Washington. Or, do I have another one in the fridge? Buena Vesa.
Buena Vesa. For sure. That's my vote, at least.
You got to let the people vote. So vote, just say Stone, Icicle, or Modelo. And then whoever gets the most votes, that's what I'll drink for the second quarter.
Malort.
Don't have any. I'm geographically shielded from Malort. I feel very fortunate. Complete happenstance. I still feel very fortunate. Malordo.
Okay. We got to make a Corona Rita out of Malort and Modelo. That's what we got to do. Just the worst
involuntary stomach cramp
known to mankind.
Uh-oh. Here we go. All right. Now we're getting fun.
All right. I am now seeing this play.
All right. One of the mods has got to add those up there.
Oh, man. Kirk almost slipped on that one. Oh, okay. Jamal Agnew's back. Well, clearly Agnew's okay, so that's good.
It is very good. That was a nasty hit he took.
Stone Forsyth Brewing Company.
That is
That's
clever.
good. That's good.
Matthew, cheers for that. That is lovely.
Diver down with Malort. That's good.
See, the Modelo with limon y sal is almost like a diver down. It's just pre-made.
I think Stone's winning here. So I'd probably lean towards
that's
the
fine.
Buena Vesa.
All right. I've got that upstairs. So we'll wait for a commercial break and I'll run upstairs through the new door. Just makes everything so
Do you
much
actually
faster.
have a real door in yet, or is it just a hole in the wall?
Oh yeah, no, it's closed right
Okay.
now. It's and I could premiere. Oh man, yeah, Trevor's knee's fine. By the way,
Yeah, I
He's
gathered
on-
that about 5 minutes into the game. I was like, oh, he's good. We're
yeah,
fine.
like if you had any lingering questions, this will take care of it for you.
Yeah, he just looks like Trevor.
Yeah, he's fine. I could.
Either that or the Toradol is just hitting.
Yep, no, and the flag is against the Saints, so they're going to decline it, take the run. I could premiere the artwork that I got for the back of the door because you know what's going on the front of the door, but don't tell anybody
Okay.
because I already told you. But for the back of the door, I got a different piece of artwork which showed up and I've had laying on a table so it would flatten out because it came rolled in a tube. And I haven't put it up yet, but I could premiere that at halftime if folks are interested.
Chat said Sapporo bought Stone. I didn't hear about that.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
No, Stone got bought for sure. The Buena Vesa, I think, is actually brewed on the East Coast.
Really?
Oh wow, yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's about as holdy gets.
No, this next one, I'm ahead. Remember.
Oh right.
So at this point, I might need that beer to keep it interesting because I believe that again, yes, I believe that our lines are going to diverge here. The Saints are going to stay Saint-like, and the Jags are just going to keep being pretty good at football.
We did take the higher on Travis Etienne rushing yards, so keep tabs on this, folks. Okay, we literally built this entire 5-man entry for this scenario of the Jags waxing New Orleans tonight. So as long as things keep going like they're going, we need Christian Kirk to get 2 more first downs. We need Etienne to get 35 more rushing yards. We need Kamara to just keep doing Kamara things. And we need Josh Allen to get like 1 sack, and we're good.
Yes, we do need a sack from Mr. Allen. $2 from Dr. Diddler. About to find out why most Saints are dead.
Oh, that's good.
Oh man, chat is on it tonight. Somebody said I was on a heater earlier. I'm just trying to keep up with chat. That's all there is to that. All right. It is an advertisement. I'm going to go get the Buena Vesa because that seems to have won the vote. And I might I'll leave the artwork out there till halftime and then go grab it.
Before you go, guy with no vowels for $2 said $150 million car can't drive. Call it Grand Theft Auto. That's good. Chat's good tonight. Chat's good tonight.
Chat's on it. Chat's on it for sure.
Yeah,
right,
I'll
be
answer
right
super chats while you go get beer.
All right.
I'm gonna stick with my coffee for now because that's all I feel like my liver can take at the moment after last night. Joe Winograd for $5. If you're taking film room suggestions, may I suggest why Jalen Hyatt may be him for my Giants and why they must use him more in the offense? I've been advocating for using Jalen Hyatt more since the preseason, and I feel like for whatever reason they've been very reluctant to do that overall this year, even though he is the most explosive passing weapon they have, not named healthy Saquon Barkley. I think Hyatt ultimately will be a quality player for the Giants. He has just effortless juice. As he learns the system, because they use entirely different verbiage and entirely different style than what he was used to at Tennessee. As he learns Dable's system, he'll probably be integrated more and more, and maybe that's just taking longer than I thought it would. But he is the most explosive receiver on the team. And the sooner they get him involved and the sooner they give themselves that vertical ability so that they can quickly climb out of these holes that they constantly find themselves into, the better. We saw it in the Cardinals game when they were down at halftime by like 20 points. Like, Hyatt got them back into that game. So I agree. The sooner they get Jalen Hyatt involved, the better, because they desperately need him. Andrew Stanley for $5. I feel like the whole league is on drugs, not realizing the Lions are playing absolutely dominant football. Positive episode right there. You're correct. There was another super chat that for whatever reason YouTube won't let me scroll up to look at, and it was suggesting a positive Lions film room. I think I'm going to go to the Lions-Chargers game in LA, which is in November. So I will, if I have an opportunity to do a Lions video, I think I'm going to tie it into that. And I don't know what part of the Lions I'll do it on. Could be Aiden Hutchinson, could be the run defense, could be Jared Goff being awesome, could be Sam Laporta, or maybe David Montgomery. I don't know. There's a lot of things to choose from when it comes to Lions. But I will do a Lions episode at some point this season. Because I feel like that's just leaving a bunch of money on the table if I don't.
Elite can art.
Oh, it's a great can art.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And also a very well done beer too.
Yeah. Love the beer.
Doesn't overwhelm you with like the lime and salt.
Nope. Very clean, drinkable lager. Enjoy it very much.
All right, let's see what Derek Carr's got here.
I would like to see a little bit of a rally here. Make this a game. I'm not predicting that'll happen, but I would like to see it.
Starting off with a little sprint out with a speed out to Rashid Shaheed underneath an off corner. That's just a drive starter. Get him into second and short. We're in shot territory here on second and short.
Okay.
See what they got for us. Starting out with 4 to the field.
Little car dart.
That's an interesting way to kind of get into a little smash concept to the boundary. Motion into a stack and then just kind of run a high-low outside.
I really like the route by Moreau. He was just straight on driving right down the tracks until he cut. He cut all at once. There wasn't any indication of which way he was going until he went. That's good stuff from a tight end. There's a lot of receivers we don't see run routes to the stem quite that sharply.
And you kind of have to, because when a safety's sitting in quarters and they're pointing their hips at you, if you roll into it, they're going to drive on it immediately and make the throw a hell of a lot harder for Carr. So you kind of have to keep them on their heels by going balls to the wall vertically, and then kind of, especially for a guy that big, like you're pushing your hip flexion and you're pushing your balance to the limit, being able to turn a frame that big that quickly, but he can do it.
Solid run stop from Devin Lloyd right here.
He's been coming on this year. Nice to see him kind of playing like how we thought he could when he was coming out. Had a little bit of a rough start to his career, but he's looked a lot better so far this year. Big reason why that run defense is so damn good.
Also, Rubens for $2. Brett, stay the F away from my Lions, please. No.
They can't get any more injured than they already are, and they're still good. So,
well, careful with that. Oh, okay. Boy, this is going to go on the highlight tape to back up what we said about Williams and how he's playing at corner. I think he's been one of their most impactful additions over the past couple of years. This is textbook peach tape stuff.
Also,
lovely.
The fact that he has the confidence to play Mike Thomas on the low shoulder as a press man corner outside. And this is a far hash throw, but you see him slide into low shoulder position because he is not scared of Michael Thomas's vertical speed. If he was scared of the vertical speed from like Olave, he'd play that top down. But that in itself is an illustration that, and this is another issue that I have with Carmichael. If you're going to try to throw a far hash go ball, you need to do it with Olave, not with Michael Thomas, because you need to be able to threaten it vertically to keep the corner over the top so that you can throw it back shoulder. If you're running it with Michael Thomas, the corner's not going to be scared enough to play that top down. And so they're going to just sit underneath him and wait for the back shoulder ball like Darius just did. So again, that's another issue I have with Carmichael is like, it's like the problem isn't calling a go route. The problem is who you're calling the go route with, you know?
Yeah. And how you call it.
It's frustrating. I'm like, you can call that play. Just literally switch the receivers. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. And maybe get creative and put him in a stack release. Like, who knows?
You don't even have to do that, but like
you don't, but you could. It would make things interesting. No, I really appreciate the rep from Darius because you see how early he turned his head.
Yeah, because he knows Thomas is not going to run away from him, so he's like, I'm just going to wait for it back shoulder, and of course it came back shoulder, and he's like, doink, like
yeah.
Oh, God.
As soon as Thomas turned to the boundary, he turned right with him and turned all the way and got his eyes back to the quarterback and was just running in phase with his eyes back to the quarterback. Great play.
Yeah, that's how you know a corner just doesn't fear a receiver at all.
Oh, no, he's not worried about what he might do in terms of juking while he gets out there. Did you Shrek the Noob for $10 to take on the DK Pete situation? Did you already cover that one?
No.
What's y'all's take on DK versus Pete situation about Metcalf taking too many penalties? If I see DK punch another CB because he can't run routes well and get open on his own, I'm going to lose my mind. All right, I'll take this one.
Yeah, you're a Pacific Northwesterner. You can have this one.
Well, we already had this conversation on Sunday. You and I did. I'm tired of that from DK as well. I am not tired of what DK can do on the football field, but this is a question of and, not or. DK, since he's been drafted, is top 10 in pretty much every, outside wide receiver metric there is. Yards, catches, touchdowns. Like, he is a very productive deep ball receiver. He is a big, fast target that produces. That is a very important thing to have. However, the things that come with it are annoying. And the one you're talking about, the mental lapses, the talking before and after the game. And look, I don't care if you talk during a game, but you got to back it up. And one thing I don't really want folks doing is before the game, unnecessarily getting other people fired up. Like, you might think it's distracted. I think in game, it's a better chance you're getting them distracted. In the week leading up, you're just making bulletin board material. And DK loves doing it. He loves throwing his teammates into it. He was, he's talking about other guys. If you want to talk about your own game, that's cool. He was talking about Spoon. Spoon wasn't saying a word. Mm-hmm. And he was like, no, Spoon's going to shut this guy down and blah, blah, blah. Jamar Chase isn't getting anything because Spoon. And like Spoon reluctantly goes, all right, sure, man.
But he's like, why are you bringing me into this? Like, what did I do?
100%. So those are not my favorite things about DK. DK from a production standpoint on the football field is the kind of big vertical receiver you want because he is big and he can get it vertical for sure. It's not that he is all talk and no production. I understand Pete wanting to say, hey, what you do for the football team is important. It is not irreplaceable. Please keep doing the good stuff and stop doing the bad stuff. I think that's what kind of all coaches and parents say is, hey, I love you, kid, but, keep doing the good stuff, stop doing the bad stuff. And the bad stuff is annoying, and it is, at this point, it's consistent. It's not a one-off thing. He is going to do it. If you frustrate DK, he is going to lash back at a poor time, usually pick up, penalty, might kill a drive, might take a good play out of the hopper. You never know. And as a football coach, you don't want that from any of your players. You don't want offensive linemen that are starting fights. You don't want, defensive linemen that are diving in their helmet first after a guy's on the ground and picking up personal foul penalties. All that stuff adds up. So I can appreciate Pete's perspective. I would say, temper the I'm ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater because you don't find receivers like that, growing on trees, even though they're as tall as trees. It is a hard position to fill in the NFL, fill well, in terms of being a top 10 type guy since the draft. So appreciate what he's good at. You can get angry at the stuff he is not good at. I would like to see him reduce some of them because they're well within his control. This is just self-control and sort of mental edge type stuff. This is not, hey, stop getting burned because you're slow.
Yeah.
It's something that's within his power to fix. And I think that's what probably frustrates Pete the most is, hey, this is a very solvable issue. Like, take a deep breath, walk away, go yell into a towel on the sideline or something. Just don't do it in front of the official.
And just don't get penalized. That's all you got to do. Like,
don't get caught.
Don't move your own offense backwards by 15 yards.
I don't care what you do. Just don't get caught.
Yeah, like again, the Lions and the Eagles and the Saints were cool with C.J. Gardner-Johnson doing his stuff because, like, C.J. was the one getting punched. He was the one creating positive yardage benefit, even though he talked a lot of shit.
Like, he talked low shit.
But he wasn't throwing the punches,
No, but he's a champ. And again, that's what I'm saying. If you believe that talking will get people off their game, yeah, it's possible. Look at C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He does it all the time. If you're doing it before the game, it's sort of counterproductive. Oh, yeah. Nice play from the Saints there. You're going to see this one. This is, this is teaching young quarterbacks to take what the defense gives them because sometimes it turns out really, really well. Like, oh, I don't know, this time.
Also, motion. It does exist. How about that?
Neat.
I'm pretty sure we just hit on Kamara. Yes, we did. He just went higher on his receiving. So 1 down, 4 to go. Again, we need 35 rushing from Travis Etienne. We need Kirk to get 2 more first downs. We need Olave to get 3 more first downs. So we're making progress, EJ. We're making progress.
Yeah. I think that's a fine start considering where we're at. We got a fair amount of time left in the second quarter.
If we hit all 5, we win $100 tonight. So
that would be good.
And as I say that, huge tackle. Oh, man.
Yeah, this is on Angelo Blackson.
And this is something that's entirely preventable. They called forward progress being stopped. The whistle was being blown, and then he still swung Kamara down and threw it like.
He kind of pulls him on top of himself more than he swung him down on the replay.
When forward progress is stopped, you got to know they're going to look for it. Like,
oh, I agree, and
I'm not saying that like it's malicious. I'm just saying you got to be aware that when a player is stopped and he's not pumping his legs anymore and the play is over, like they're gonna tag you for anything if you do it.
Oh boy,
you just can't give the refs an excuse.
That was surprising.
All right, another bunch look, kind of a loose bunch motioning into a 2x2. A lot more motion in this game than I'm used to from the Saints. So yeah, that's nice to see at least.
They feel like tendency breakers. It really felt like Jacksonville had that strung out for maybe a yard and a half, and right at the end, he just kind of leaned forward and got 3 right up the sideline. And I was like, oh, all right, that was a worthwhile play.
That's just Rashid being a good football player.
Just Rashid being Rashid, which is cool.
All right, second and 6. We're on schedule.
Oh, there you go. All right. If you don't appreciate Williams as a corner, folks, this is the night for you. You're going to by the end of this game because he's already made at least 3 really solid plays, and we're not even 2 full quarters into this thing.
That was a really nice tackle.
Such a good football player.
And it's hard to tackle Kamara in space coming from the side and hitting him in the thigh. Like, that's a tackle that Kamara breaks a lot. In terms of his contact balance, like it's Kamara's one of the few running backs where like it's actually hard to tackle him low, but for Darius to be able to do that, that's impressive. All right, trips to the field on 3rd down, looks like a single high look. Okay, kind of an interesting. We had like a smoke route outside, and remember we talked about pregame how like this is a team that lines up and plays ISO ball?
Yep.
Their ISO was we're going to run a curl from the slot to Olave against a corner that's playing outside leverage, so he has eyes on the DB or eyes on the receiver and the quarterback at the same time. So literally the second Carr's shoulder move, DB's going to drive on it. again, the static route concepts, the ISO ball stuff, you can do it if you're the Eagles because you're the Eagles, but I don't understand why the Saints insist on playing that way. Like, to me, Olave's best traits are lateral quickness, separation ability, and I would even say vertical speed as well. You don't really use that on just a curl route against a corner that's playing off man from outside leverage because he has safety help sitting inside. Like, you're not using any of those traits to generate leverage and space for a throw. You're just trusting that Carr is going to be able to fit it into a crazy window, which he's not going to be able to do. I don't know. Just kind of weird choices by Carmichael so far in this game.
It's where you end up with teams that don't perform up to their talent level or don't exceed their talent level. Either way, is when you have this kind of disconnect between how you want to play and how you can actually play.
Yeah.
How you can be effective, what your roster looks like, what they're good at, how they stack up against the team across from you. Like, hey, we don't have an advantage this week because their secondary is really good and our receivers are not better than them. So we should look for an advantage in a different area and move and change and anticipate. You're not always going to get it right. It is an incredibly dynamic game. It moves not only week to week, but it also moves half to half, halftime adjustments. Totally a thing. But like when you see the same thing kind of week after week and it is not leveraging strengths and adjusting to the sort of changing flow of the game and the changing status of your roster, that's when you get teams that quote unquote underperform. Oh, I thought they'd be better. Well, they kind of are better. Reminds me a little bit of Cleveland's defense, right? Cleveland's defense, we kept saying stacked with talent. Their results were not awesome, right? Like, man, they got Myles Garrett. They got all these guys in the secondary. They got linebackers now that we like. Like, why aren't they better?
Oh, the coordinator.
Jim Schwartz comes in, and suddenly what is largely the same defensive roster looks way better. And it's because you are putting guys with talent in spots to succeed. I know it sounds simple, folks.
Apparently it's not.
It does. It's not easy. It is a simple concept to understand. It is difficult to execute in the NFL. Oh boy.
All right. Jags coming out for another drive here.
It's a little things night, Brett. I want people to appreciate how good Trevor is at throwing a screen. And I know a lot of people out there are like, well, it's not hard to throw a screen. High school quarterbacks can throw a screen. High school quarterbacks can't throw a screen that well. And if they can, they're getting college offers. Like, the care he puts into screens with ball placement and timing, how quickly he gets the ball into the hands of his playmaker, the accuracy, like,
and
it's
about
important to him.
And putting it on the front shoulder here to help with, we can call it like the efficiency of movement for Travis Etienne, to not have to adjust, to not have to change, to not have to like make any sort of movement that will slow him down. He could just catch and run. Like, it makes a difference, man.
It's just liquid. Like, it's so quick. And they got a huge gain out of what everyone's, oh, that's an easy play to run. It is an easy play to run, but it's kind of like IPAs. It's not an easy play to run well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and they've already run it well a couple of times tonight, and better than a lot of other teams. And look, the screen game has exploded in the NFL this year. There's more screens than ever all the way across the league. And you're seeing a lot of people, kind of like the brotherly shove. You're seeing a lot of people try and run it. Not very many teams run it well, and screens are the same way. Everybody runs screens. A lot of teams run them really, really poorly. Jacksonville, very solid screen game.
3rd and 3 after a run for no gain blown up by DeMario. Oh man, Trevor just a hair wide on the speed out to Agnew.
Whee! Yeah, he's fast, but he's not that fast.
I think Trevor maybe expected him to come back to it a little bit more than he did. It kind of seemed like he was leaving it super flat, trying to lead him away from Lattimore.
Oh boy, now we've pushed the envelope a bit too far.
Well, are they going for it on 4th and 3? Oh no, they're punting.
No, but we're pushing the envelope on punt coverage a little bit too far.
Ooh, ooh. Yeah, that's a flag every single time.
Yeah.
Did he just not see? I don't think
Well,
he.
the first one bumped him and turned him. The second one kind of was at speed, and he got blocked into him. I get it, but like
It kind
the
of looked
first
like
one,
he got forced out of bounds, and then he had to kind of cut from way wide to get back on the field. And I don't think he saw. Oh no, he just saw it late. He didn't throw it up until he was like 3 feet away from him. That's what it was. He just didn't see it till it was too late.
yeah, and then he got pinballed, and it looked worse than it was. Still bad. Still going to be like the contact from the first guy was enough to draw a flag. The second was just like, okay, now we're all throwing the flag.
See, that's a tough thing for a gunner though. Is like if he gets
Fully
there
agree.
and then the return, like if you're literally 4 steps away and the returner just goes, that. It's like, okay, I have to stop running full speed when I'm going 20 miles an hour in 4 steps. Like, that's hard. That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Saints get good field position out of it.
Again.
Again.
Yeah. The Saints are committed to the screen game tonight. They have realized that is a play that they can complete with regularity, and they're gonna milk that thing for all it's worth, maybe more.
Honestly, I'm just surprised they're only down by 11 at this point, considering overall how each of these teams has looked. Like if they get a touchdown out of this and they can go, if they get a touchdown and a stop and they go into the half down 14-10, that's a win for the Saints, considering everything that's happened so far.
I would say that's a massive win, considering how little they've been able to leverage just gift opportunities that have showed up for them in the first half. If they can do both of those things, a touchdown and a stop, which I don't have a ton of confidence in either one, yes, that would be a massive victory for New Orleans.
Fire zone on second down, something we've seen from Jacksonville a lot this year, is they try to create plays just like that one, either for no gain or for a loss to set up third and medium or third and long. They're a very heavy blitz team on second down specifically for that reason, both against the run and the pass. They kind of just play the run on the way to the quarterback. So it's a very, very aggressive defense. If you don't get a big gain on first down, they're going to come after you.
And it worked.
Yep.
The defensive philosophy worked.
All gas, no brakes. That's how they play. All right. Carr, for me, is still checking. Are we going to get fire zone here? Looks like we are. Oh, no. They only rushed 4. They dropped out of it, but still got home and forced an early throw.
Yeah, but we don't get credit for Josh Allen pressures.
I know. We need the sack.
He was close. He had a foot on the ankle or a hand on the ankle. Like, he didn't get it.
Nifty look for them to show pressure and drop out though, and still get 4 home. Oh, we're going for it. What happened?
Okay, game of inches. Absolutely, NFL's a game of inches.
Man, you're way ahead of me now then, because I still haven't even snapped the ball.
I can see your screen on my screen, so yes, I know how far you are behind. Oh my God.
Remember what we said about Kamara being hard to tackle low? Well, there you go.
Did you see the hit from Allen?
No, I wasn't looking at Allen.
Oh, he blasted Carr in the back right after he let go of that thing. Like he was in the air. It was, how little you can get away with hitting quarterbacks. He was already in the air when that ball got thrown. He blasted him. So we've missed our Josh Allen sack by this much on 2 consecutive plays.
At right tackle. Oh no, they got 75.
That was left tackle.
Sorry, left tackle. Hold on, let me pull up your depth chart. I was looking at the wrong depth chart. I was like, Will Freeze isn't on the Saints? No. Okay, pulling up the Saints depth chart now.
No, he's not.
Was that Hurst, 75? Oh, no, that was Pete. I didn't realize they got Pete playing left tackle tonight. All right, makes sense why he tried to short set it then, because that's all he's been doing at guard his entire career is short setting it. It's kind of tough to make that transition when all of a sudden they have a lot more runway for you.
Yeah. Matthew Wright with Miss Super Chat. What's a common bad football take that drives you crazy whenever you hear it?
Oh, I got one.
There are so many for me. I'll let you go if you have a specific one, but they're doing this for a living and talking, having the luxury of talking with a lot of people that know ball on a regular basis. Occasionally I find myself in, I don't know, social situation, maybe a work party for my wife or, just hanging out someplace and somebody's like, oh, what do you do? And you're like, oh God, here we go. Anyways, you tell them and then they're like, oh, I'm a blanks fan. And you're like, cool, that's awesome. Right. And they're like, here comes the most bland take from basically like talk radio in their town, that's just getting parroted over and over again, whether or not it's true. And they believe it because it's been hammered into them, whatever it is. And you're like, yeah, okay. It's kind of like if you ran into somebody and they're like, oh, I'm a Cowboys fan. They're like, man, I'm glad we're running the ball this year because Kellen's gone. And you're like,
have you paid attention to what Kellen did last year?
That's not okay. We're not going to have a nuanced conversation about it. What's yours?
Mine is the notion of a system quarterback. And there was a question that was asked to Mike McDaniel this week about Tua. And it was a reporter who the reporter wasn't being a dick about it, and the reporter was basically setting up Mike to defend Tua, right? He was feeding him a question of like, McDaniel, can you talk to the critics who say that anybody would be successful in the Dolphins offense and how Tua is a system quarterback? And McDaniel basically, in not so many words, is like, what the fuck are we talking about? Every NFL offense is not just the quarterback. It's about the receivers. It's about the line play. It's about the play call. It's about everything coming together at the same time to create a coherent, cohesive system. What have we talked about tonight with the Carmichael offense? Like, they have players, but they're not being put into a good position to maximize their skill set. And so he's like, and for me, like, I think the notion of a system quarterback used almost like a negative, without realizing that pretty much every single quarterback is a system quarterback. They have things that they excel in. They have things that they don't excel in. And it's on the coach to create a system that maximizes what they excel in, right? And and I think when people, honestly, well, I think people mislabel it, because when they think of quarterbacks that they don't see as system quarterbacks, they think of quarterbacks who get their coaches out of trouble, right? Who can break pressure and make a crazy throw and make the coach right even when they're wrong. Like, that's what they think of when they think of system quarterback. But just because there's only like 5 of those on planet Earth doesn't mean that every other quarterback ain't shit. Like, it doesn't mean that a quarterback excelling in a certain system suddenly makes them any less valuable. Because what if Tua runs the Mike McDaniel offense better than, let's say, Joe Burrow would run it, or better than Josh Allen would run it? Like, what if Tua is better in that system because of, how he processes, how he reads space, his spatial awareness in general is absolutely incredible. His touch, his timing, anticipation. Like, what if Tua is the system? And so I think this NFL take that, like, a system is what makes a quarterback rather than a quarterback is what makes the system is what really bothers me, is because people use it to, like, talk down on a quarterback and say that, like, they are the entire product of their coach. And it's like, really the job of the coach is to create a system that highlights what the player does well. And that's the mark of a good coach. And I don't know. I just think the whole Tua narrative about, like, well, anybody be good in Miami. It's like, I'm not so sure. Like, there was a lot of quarterbacks that were in the Shanahan system with McDaniel and Kyle and all of them that weren't good at it. Like, they didn't win a single game for like 11 weeks in, I think it was 2017, 2018, whatever it was. Like, they were fucking horrible with a whole bunch of, like, Nick Mullins and all these guys. Like, they couldn't run it. So this whole notion of like, oh, anybody good in the offense. No, they clearly aren't. Like, what they didn't really take off until they got Jimmy, because Jimmy could run the offense. So I don't know. I hate that take. I think it's dumb. Sorry for the rant. It bothers me when people talk about that.
Yeah, it's totally fine. I agree with the rant, because when you hear folks that are quarterbacks or are offensively based coaches, in terms of offense coordinators, quarterback coaches, they're like, every quarterback is a system quarterback. Every quarterback runs a system, and the idea that you can, sort of agnostically like interchange all these players and they will be the same, or, that they'll be elevated just because of their location. No, your point is, you are again looking for the strengths of whatever player you have on your roster, quarterback, wide receiver, defensive tackle, and looking to put them in position to succeed. That's your job as a coach. That's what good coaches do. So yeah, I am creating, under the best case circumstances, a system that is not rigid and accentuates the strength of my players so that I can win games. That's the gig. That's the job description. And when we see coaches fail, it's when they don't do that, or they refuse to do that. They say, my system is the thing, and it is my way or the highway. I think we've all had coaches or teachers or bosses like that who are like, the only way to succeed is to do it, my program to the letter. Those systems don't tend to, foster tremendous results, at least not at the higher levels. And when you're learning the basics, sure, you can get stuff drilled into you.
But when you're working with professionals, oh, man.
Yeah, when you're working with people that have a strong basis, and we can assume that everybody that has made the NFL has at least a good, solid basis, the idea that they are suddenly magically better because of a bunch of plays that are put in front of them, no. And there's again, we talked about it even with one of the most thought of as simplistic plays in the NFL, screenplay. Like, screenplay is a kind of a day one install. It's, at worst day two. It is not a hard play. It is a play that every team runs. This is not a specific play. You can run screens well or poorly, right? Does that mean you're a system quarterback? No, it means you're a quarterback that pays attention to details and says what's necessary to run a screen well so that we get a positive result from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Matthew said, cough, urban cough. Yeah, exactly.
Oh God. Yeah, and he's not the only one. There are coaches at every level that refuse to change, and those coaches might have long tenures, but could have seen even more success if they were willing to flex a little bit.
All right, T-Law throwing a lot of like far hash hitches and everything like that, which in Doug Peterson's system, speaking of system quarterbacks, when they go trips to the field, if that outside corner is off, pretty much whatever route they have a side adjust where they can sit it down against an off corner that isn't playing like a hard flat. And so they're just kind of abusing that, right? They hit it to Ingram, then they hit it to Kirk. I think Kirk was the last one, where anytime they get a soft and off corner, they're just going to hitch it up. And Trevor has the arm to nail that.
Brad Brashear sighting.
He's actually had some really, really nice pressures over the last month or so.
Huh. Funny that, huh?
I mean, he's no Kobe Turner, but...
Now you're just playing favorites. Which kid do you love more?
I know. I love all my children equally.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, so I think we're in third down, right?
Yeah, Josh says Derek Carr or Mike White. At this point, I don't know. I've seen Mike White play some very solid football. I'd be interested to see Mike White running this offense. Again, the offense has its own issues, but it might be a cleaner eval with Mike White running it, in terms of, hey, if it's there and it's open, he's hitting it, as opposed to, oh, there was nothing open and he had to eat it and take a sack. Okay, maybe that's a system thing. Like, he didn't throw it because nobody was open, as opposed to, hey, there was somebody open, but Carr didn't hit him.
Also, I have to imagine the car injury is affecting the accuracy a little bit because some of these balls are just inexcusable from him.
Yeah, and he had that last week as well. And again, I'm not sure when he took the injury last week, so it might have well been that I was looking at throws after that. So, but there were a lot of like, what the hell balls last week? Like, what are you calling that?
Yeah.
Oh, we have trickeration, folks.
You know, I thought it was kind of weird that they weren't going for it on 4th down because when they threw it short of the sticks,
weren't going for it.
Well, because Trevor was out there for a little while, right? And then when he was coming off the field, tangent.
My favorite part of the evening.
You know how I know that Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to frame this in my head before I say it. You know how I know that Trevor Lawrence is a great quarterback.
How's that?
Beyond the arm, beyond the accuracy and the processing and all that kind of stuff. His understanding of the human element of football, I've always found really special. Like his body language, his leadership, but also how he sells stuff to the other team. If you noticed, when he was coming off the field, he was disappointed. He was
head down,
grabbing the thing, pulling it off, shaking his head, and they threw it short of the sticks on 3rd down, which in the end I was like, okay, well, they must be setting up a 4th down. And then they wait a little while, and then he's just making a big old scene coming off the field. He could have just walked, like he knows they're fake punting. He could have just walked off the field and then not taken his helmet off. Like, no, he acted. He's upset, shaking his head, pulling the strap, taking the helmet off, looking like he's all pissed that they're not going to give him a chance. And you saw the Saints not have any fucking idea they were going to run a fake punt there because Trevor was looking so pissed about it. That's awesome. It's just the tiny little like interpersonal details of football that kind of remind you like, hey, these are humans out there playing a game, and sometimes you can trick them through acting. It was great.
Take note, chat. Former film student that lives in LA, loves actors.
It was awesome. You did a good job.
He did sell it. Oh. You were speaking earlier about Mr. Lattimore and his hands.
He does have good hands, EJ. When he is given an opportunity to look the ball in.
As evidenced by...
Also, if you ever wanted an example of the Coleman curse immediately working, when I praise Trevor and then he throws a pick on like the next play.
Yep, 100%.
I didn't ask for this power.
You praised his acting skill, not his throwing.
Well,
prowess.
sometimes I wish he would act like a little bit more accurate version of himself.
That ball's not probably an interception.
Did it hit the ground?
We'll see what they ruled. Now, they ruled it an interception on the field, but there were several, and I do mean several, multiple challenges on Sunday where the ruling on the field was overturned with what I would call less evidence than that. Several times that I was surprised.
That might not be a pick. I will say,
yeah.
Fucking phenomenal play from Lattimore, though. The speed
turn
on that, turn, and then to come back and shoot under the hip, like that's a crazy play.
He's a tremendous corner, but I'm saying when that ball hits the ground, he probably doesn't have control over it. He gains it as it hits the ground. But again, going to be difficult to overturn. And again, multiple calls on Sunday that I thought, nah, they can't, because they called it a catch or because they called it, not an interception. They can't turn that over. And 3 times on Sunday I can think of specifically, I was like, well, and I mean, even the broadcasters were like, well, and they always have an official to go to now, a rules guy on the broadcast, and they're like, well, Dean, what do you think? And he's like, I'm with you guys. I'm not exactly sure that should have been overturned. And you're like, okay, well, the former head of referees says, I don't know. You got to go with him. But I could understand because it was called an interception on the field. Nope.
Yeah.
All reversed.
It's close, though.
Yeah. No, I get it. And either way, it's still a phenomenal play by Lattimore. Whether he completes the interception or doesn't, in this case, doesn't, there's no chance for the receiver to catch that ball. It's a great defensive play. However, leaves us with a 4th and 2, about 30 seconds left in the half.
I mean, you already called the fake punt. You're in it. You got to just go for it, right? Oh, no, they're going to kick a field goal. I don't know. We'll see.
Fake punt, fake field goal, same drive. Now that's ballsy. That's impressive stuff if you can manage. I don't know, McManus.
Damn, I wish they would have gone for that, but oh well.
Yeah, McManus looks a little nervous for a 43-yarder. Maybe it's because he knows he has to throw it.
Where were you in Dallas versus the Chargers when the Gilmore pick happened? So I was on the Cowboys sideline at like the 15-yard line, lower bowl in SoFi. So I was sitting right behind the Cowboys bench when it happened, and obviously they exploded. And then I was watching Mike McCarthy just let out the largest sigh of relief ever because he's like, "Thank God I escaped this game."
Oh.
Which, man, McCarthy did his best to give that one away, but
yeah, I was gonna say
thwarted by his own team.
Speaking of coaches not necessarily putting their players in the best position to succeed.
Yeah, every week. Jaden, sorry I missed last week, Brett, but have you seen any tape on Tyree yet? Didn't see anything on your Twitter. So I assume we're talking about the Raiders' edge. The thing with him, in terms of his conspicuously low pressure rate so far this year, he came into the league, ton of length, ton of power, thought that he even had a couple flashes in his first action where he had like this bull rush coming off the edge where he had a whole bunch of runway and just immediately collapsed the right tackle. And I thought we were going to see that every week, but I haven't seen him use an off-speed pitch yet, and it feels like every tackle knows he's going to come at you with length and power and not do anything else to kind of give you a little change up. There's not going to be a swipe off of that. There's not going to be, like, he's not going to show a stab and then and kind of do like a ghost move. He's got the one move, and tackles are just sitting down and anchoring against it, and not. And maybe he's not used to rushing against NFL quality tackles where you can just run over them all the time, but he's not giving any other move. He's not giving any other change up. And I want to see him incorporate that. Like, just do anything lateral at all. Like, not just trying to go through tackles all day long, because they're not letting him do it. Like, they're all big, they're all strong, just like him, and they're just waiting for it, and he's giving it to him every single time. So I would say his lack of pressures is more a product of his predictability than anything else for me.
Okay, this is your reminder that sacks are fickle.
I mean,
so we've had 3 almosts in the first half.
He was 6 inches away, man.
Could have been Josh Allen sacks on 3 different occasions, and as far as I know, the stat sheet has him at 0.
Unless they count that as a half, I don't think they will.
Yeah, and that's not going to help our particular Pick'em's roster either way, but there you are.
Yeah, so checking in at halftime on our entry. So, again, we're still waiting for that Josh Allen sack. He's gotten close to a lot. We still need 3 more first downs from Olave. We need 1 more first down from Christian Kirk. We already hit on Kamara. And we need 35 more. Wow, we still need 35 more rushing yards from Etienne? We went on an entire quarter without him getting any rushing yards? Apparently. Okay, well, we'll see what happens in second half for that. Again, still a doable slip. Maybe we're a little bit off pace now, but it's doable.
I think it's a good set. It's a good set of stats to have. And you can see how the game could play out. If the Jags continue to extend their lead, Etienne's going to presumably be in there, grind some clock. The rushing yards could come from that. The first downs, yeah, Josh Allen, he's going to get more chances again to rush if the Jags lead goes up. So the whole the whole the whole bunch was built on the idea that the Jags were going to get a lead and that the Saints were going to have to throw. We already hit the Camaro one. We'll see.
Jeffrey A. Thistle for $10. This is we are in the Caesars Superdome tonight, so this is a touchy question,
Pertinent question, yes.
How long before the fact the NFL is not a sport, it's an entertainment company and could legally fix every game if they? I don't think they can legally fix every game, actually.
Well, if you become like the WWE and you say we're not a sports entity anymore, we're entertainment, or we are sports entertainment, which is the slice that
But if betting is allowed on it, you're not allowed to fix. Anyway, I'll accept the premise, right? Let's say they could legally fix every game if they wanted, and being in bed with sports betting comes home to roost. Just wondering. So that's the thing, is like they can't be in bed with sports betting if games are, if it like the WWE and the results were predetermined. They couldn't. They couldn't be in bed with sports betting, and they'll make a hell of a lot more money from just letting the games be played as they naturally are and letting people bet on them. And that's the thing that I you know how hard it is to like fix a football game? It's almost impossible in terms of how many moving parts there are to a football game. Like, you got to pay off not just 22, like how many guys get snaps for every single team every single week? Like 40? More than that? So you got to pay off that many players. You got to pay off the referees. Like, it's impossible. Like, you couldn't do it. It's literally impossible. And B, there's no motivation to fix NFL games to begin with. They're making an obnoxious amount of money on TV rights. They're making an equally obnoxious amount of money from sports betting partnerships. There's no benefit to fixing games from the league perspective. So, like, I don't know. I think the worry about getting in bed with Vegas and moving a team to Vegas and the sports betting partnerships, like, I think it's all unfounded because there's no motivation to fix games to begin with, and also it's fucking impossible compared to like single sports like tennis or boxing. Like, you literally can't do it. It would not be a profitable enterprise to begin with.
JJP says you can bet on pro wrestling. Okay. Like,
how?
I'm
and
not
why?
sure.
Like, why would you?
The why is the second piece for me, but All right, so it's halftime. Do we have super chats to catch up on? Because we should do those first.
So that was one of them. We also have scrolling. Okay, YouTube is not showing me the earlier ones. So if I missed any, please let me know, and we'll just, again, don't give us extra money. Not asking for that.
Right.
But just let me know if we missed them.
Yep.
Jeff says, just worry about the integrity of the game. I can promise you the integrity of the game is not compromised. Everything's on the up and up.
All right. So housekeeping for halftime. I will be at the November 12th Commanders Seahawks game. We are splitting this enterprise with the wonderful guys from the Seahawkers podcast. Brandon, I'm not sure if Adam's going to be there as well, but we are talking about doing a probably pregame tailgate type meetup. If not, then the night before, a Saturday evening at a local watering hole type meetup. So details for that will be on social media. If you're interested in showing up, please do. Should be a good time. Should be a good game. Get to see hopefully Sam Howell live and in person. Hawks have been playing some good football, so that's a heads up. Should we debut the art?
Of course. Absolutely.
All right. You tell the folks your schedule that you're going to throw out there. I will go grab the art.
So I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to Washington at USC down here in LA, which is in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. I am probably going to Lions at Chargers in November. So if you happen to be going to that game, whether you're an away fan that's flying in for it or you're in LA and you're a Chargers fan, you're going to it, please let me know. But I believe I'm going to that one. This weekend, if you're going to be at Steelers at Rams, I will be at SoFi for that one. So again, let me know if you're going to that game. I'm going to be seeing the Saints live later this season. Saints at Rams in December. I'm going to be at that one at SoFi. I'm trying to think. Don't think I have anything else on the docket for Rams or Chargers games. I know that both EJ and I will be in Frisco in January for the Shrine Bowl. And then we're going to be in Vegas for the Super Bowl. And then I'm going to be at Combine a couple weeks after that. And then we'll probably end up doing some pro days during draft season, I imagine. And then we'll be in Detroit for the draft. Wait, draft is in Detroit, right? I think it is.
Yes, draft is in Detroit. We are attempting to do some fun stuff for that as well. Another meetup. We had a lot of fun at Casey Beer Co. last year out in Kansas City. They treated us right, and we had a great turnout for that one. Got to meet a lot of bootleggers. That was super fun. Weather held up, which was great. Looking to do that again in Detroit. Might have a line on a venue. We'll see.
Yeah, and it's about time for us to work on that, huh?
It's getting there. I
Yeah.
believe me. And the sort of larger background draft piece that we would like to get going. So yeah, all that stuff is rapidly coming into focus. I don't know about you, but I'm getting asked just about every day, like, where do you have that guy ranked? And I'm like, whoa, folks.
I've done like 8 receivers so far, and there's another 40 to do. So
yeah. And you're getting questioned about, QB potentially 6 or 7. And they're like, so what do you think of his, merits versus blank, blank, and blank? And you're like, dude, it's October. Like,
I will say the Discord's already putting together their draft guide because they're on it, and they're starting early this year.
They getting 1,000 guys this year?
Probably close to it. So they put me onto this kid. Riley put me onto this kid last night. There's a receiver at Louisiana Tech who is a fucking lightning bolt. Like, oh my God, he is fast.
Yep.
He's insane, dude. So I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but La Tech, man.
Grossi Posse raid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Grossi Posse. Is Tom streaming tonight? He probably is, right? I imagine he is.
Every primetime game, Grossi is he took his summer stadium tour ethos and said, not only am I going to do that crazy thing and raise half a freaking $1 million,
which is nuts.
Like, yeah, just insane amounts of money. I'm going to do every primetime game live over on his channel. So if you're not familiar with who we're talking about, it's Tom Grossi, big time YouTuber, Packcast, GPS, Dumpster
Rich
Fire.
Eisen show.
You name it. Everywhere. Tom's amazing. I got to spend some time with him. You got to spend some time with him in Pittsburgh. I got to spend some time with him when he was out here in Seattle. Got to hop on Dumpster Fire with him and Adam about a month back. It's good times. So he does these things called raids where he goes out to support other creators and drops into the comments and just blasts away. And I believe that is our second Grossi Posse raid ever. I'm quite pleased about that. So that's pretty darn awesome.
And we love him for it. We do. We love Tom.
All right. Without further ado, we should debut the art. So I needed something for the back of my new door that when I redid the studio, I got a repurposed door from a great place called Second Use up in Seattle, which is architectural salvage. Got this really cool door, and it's got a very sweet space on the back of it. And I couldn't really figure out what I wanted on the back of it. I wasn't sure if I wanted it to be football themed, but then I thought, that's pretty much the whole purpose of this room. That's really what built this room. Should probably be football themed, but that leaves open a very wide range of photographs, paintings, different teams, millions of different moments throughout NFL, college, whatever else. But finally found one. It spoke to me. I ordered it. It showed up, and I just now have to mount it on the door. It fits perfectly in the opening, which is really, really cool. But this is what I got. You'll have to tell me what you think.
Okay. I still haven't seen this myself, so.
No, you have not. This is a reveal for everybody.
Oh, that's sick. I love that. And of course, it's Walter, your favorite bear. That makes sense.
And my favorite NFL player ever, really. But on canvas, which is the cool part about this. It's not a paper poster. This is a canvas piece. Yeah. Anyways.
I love that. That's awesome.
It's going on the back of the door. Definitely felt like the right thing. It took a while to get shipped, but super excited to be hanging that up this week. And then special surprise for the outside of the door, which you already know about, but
my absent face, clearly. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna take a picture of your ass.
Just me going,
blow it up and on my door. No, that would be horrendous. I wouldn't want to come to work ever if that's what I had to walk through to get here. But no, the aesthetic. We're gonna see some more things on the walls here. I've had some questions about that. When are you gonna put up the bear stuff? When are you gonna put up the underdog stuff? When are you gonna put up the Amish stuff? It's all coming. It's all coming.
We're getting there. We're
rolling this out there. But we should also announce for halftime housekeeping, if you have been watching the podcast, whether it's the previews or recaps, we have a preview coming out tomorrow, and it looks a little bit different. We got a new coat of paint for the podcast, so we won't spoil it for you folks, but definitely check it out when it drops tomorrow. It's got a different look. It's got some upgraded features. It's the 1% better ethos coming through on the podcast. So we've been rocking the old paint job for a while, and we needed a refresh, and our editors helped us out with it, and we're pretty excited. We have seats for you all now.
I want to clean up some super chats before we get the second half going because we're a little bit behind.
Yes, please.
All right. Miss my super. This is from Lone Horrell. Miss my super chat. Is there a world where the Pats get Bill to give up GM duties to get some fresh impetus, but let him still go for the wins record? Would it even help if they did? I don't see that happening. I think if Bill's going to be there, he's going to do everything because Bill wouldn't accept anything else. So, short answer on that is no. If Bill is gone, Bill is gone. If Bill is there, he is everything. I don't see him relinquishing power. Mark for $5 to answer the question of why betting on pro wrestling is a thing, because people have gambling addictions. Every AEW and WWE pay-per-view has a gambling partner. Insanity to me, but God. Okay. God, that's insane. If people want to bet on wrestling, that is their purview. Curtis Rogers for $5 came to grad school at Illinois this year and got good tickets to Illinois versus Wisconsin. Any draft players I should watch? The Wisconsin running back is Braylon Allen is crazy good.
Illinois D tackle.
Oh yeah, Newton's awesome. Yeah. Trying to think. Wisconsin got some other guys, but I can't remember their names off the top of my head.
Yeah, Illinois got a couple of the guys on defense. At least one guy on offense. Wisconsin, always be looking at the lines from Wisconsin. For a long time, it was just offensive line out of Wisconsin, but then there's the Keanu Bet factor. Like, check out defensive line as well. For years the joke was that Wisconsin had no passing game. Like, they either had one receiver or none forever, and that's changed. That changed a few years ago. So, Braylon Allen's a super fun one that goes to the more traditional, like, gee, the Wisconsin running back's good again. Oh, really? There's only 4 of them in the league. Like, all right. At one time.
Little came to say hi, obviously.
I know. I saw Little. I was going to shout him out, but I figured chat would be all over it. Yep. Cat. Yeah.
Yes. All right. We're back in the second half.
Tell my nephew I haven't been down to see him, and I know I've been a bad
he misses you.
Uncle.
He misses
I've been a bad uncle.
Thoughts on KJ Jefferson? I love watching him play. Absolute tank of a runner, has gotten consistently better as a passer. I don't think his curve of development as a passer is as sharp as Jalen Hurts, but it is roughly the same shape. He has gotten consistently better every single year. So I would look at him as a developmental guy that's going to start his career as a backup, and you hope that he can kind of go like the Tyrod Taylor route, right? Be a high quality backup that can be a spot starter for you if you need him. But incredibly talented runner, good arm, and accuracy and touch and timing, all that kind of stuff has gotten consistently better. Again, he's not close to being ready to be an NFL starter, but he's on the way there. He really is. All right. Saints stop short, down by 11. You kind of got to go for this.
Oh, boy. Jared Cole, bad uncles are fun uncles, EJ. I'm aware. Trust me. I'm aware. Why do you think they like me in the first place?
Jeffrey Thistle for $5. I'm a Seahawks fan. I watched the Seahawks versus Steelers Super Bowl. All I will say, I'm a little touchy compared to most fan bases. All right, that makes sense. Seahawks fans are very resentful of that particular narrative.
For sure. No, I was a Seahawks season ticket holder for the 2 seasons before that Super Bowl, not that season itself, but the 2 seasons that preceded it. Had a good time going to games. Again, Bears fan, initially had called up the Seahawks ticket office about tickets to see the Bears when they were coming to Seattle that 2 years prior. And the ticket agent, I made very little money at the time. Ticket agent was like, why don't you just buy season tickets? I was like, whoa, buddy, didn't you hear me? I work in education, like not a thing. And he was like, oh, well, a season ticket for the, remaining 6 home games would only be like, I think it was $285.
Wow.
For the season.
That's crazy.
In those days. And I was like, each? Like, I definitely can't afford that. And he was like, no, for the remaining 6 home games, you'd pay like $285. And I was like, wait, what? Because
I'll do that.
I have friends that I grew up with in upstate New York that are Steelers fans, and they've actually never seen a game at whatever you want to call Heinz Field, right? Because they always go to away games because A, you can't get tickets there, and B, they're terribly expensive. They're like twice as much for nosebleeds, right? For one ticket. And so I called my friends up and I was like, dude, I could get 6 Seahawks tickets in the same seat every week for like under $300. And they were like, no way. So my wife and I got season tickets and we did it, and we re-upped for the next year. And then the year after that, they went to the Super Bowl and they got a lot more expensive. And, we didn't keep them, but it was fun while it lasted, for sure. I mean, those are really fun teams. You got to see Sean Alexander up close, Walter Jones, Hasselbeck was the quarterback. Receiver talent wasn't necessarily great, but Hutchinson was there. Some all-time NFL greats, and got to see them play up close and personal for a couple of seasons. It was a lot of fun.
Saints had some success with the ground game so far in this one. They hit G lead on 4th down with Kamara. Really good call from Carmichael there. Not Carmichael.
Carmichael.
And then they got a nice little run with Taysom Hill where he ran over a linebacker. Now, unfortunately, no flag. We're calling that on Lloyd.
Andrews Pete, he's having a rough night.
Oh man,
I don't know about that. That seems kind of soft.
I gotta see it.
I'm just gonna say that one seems kind of soft. Like, there, me. I am not a proponent of vicious offensive line holding, and I realize that holding Twitter will come after me and say there's no such thing. But it does occasionally occur where a guy freaking horse collars a guy.
That's not a hold. That's just good technique. That's a snatch technique. What do you want him to not snatch? Like,
yeah, I feel the same about that. I felt like that was an extremely soft penalty.
Yeah, I don't agree. Now they're 2nd and 20, and this Saints offense has not been good when they're not on schedule.
It feels very much to me like the question that Matt Canada had to feel a couple of weeks ago. We're like, oh, this offense isn't made to make up deficits in the score. And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, this just feels like a field goal is coming.
Yeah. Well, if they're lucky, they got to get in range first.
So quarters against. Oh no, we're rolling down to cover 3 against empty. Ooh. Okay. So some kind of miscommunication between Kamara and Carr. Now 3rd and 20. They got nothing in the playbook for this. At least nothing that I feel comfortable with them actually converting with.
They have something for half of it.
Yeah. This smells of screen to get yardage to set up an easy field goal.
Kind of. You're not that far off. The result is the same. The mechanism is different.
And there it is. Yeah, a little check down, taking the field goal. That's the thing is like, if you have an offense that gets into 2nd and 20, and you know the drive is over, like just entirely it's over, that's a problem. That is a deep
I would
problem.
Agree. We just got a question about how much someone should overreact to the 49ers result. Be sure to watch the preview episode tomorrow. We do preview the 49ers game against the Vikings. Some people might say why. It is the last game we preview. We kind of wanted to follow up on our takes from the recap. They're the same. If you watch the recap, we didn't really change tune during the week. I think you will find a reassuring tone in our preview episode that comes out tomorrow.
Harrison Lindsay for $2. Wasn't JSN supposed to be the high volume guy? Correct. Yes, you're right, and they still haven't been using him that way, and it has been a sore spot for both me and EJ. They are not. This is an offense that we know that they prioritize throwing outside the numbers. They do not really throw over the middle, and what we had thought was they drafted JSN so that they could start throwing over the middle, and they're still not doing it. Like even conceptually, like they're not really calling stuff for JSN over the middle. And I'm starting to think that it's just a Geno thing. Like he doesn't like doing it. He's like, he similar to Russ in that way, where like Russ just didn't like working the middle of the field, and Kyler just doesn't like working the middle of the field compared to Jimmy, who only works the middle of the field, and Purdy, who mostly works the middle of the field. Like, it just doesn't seem to be a comfort zone for Geno, and so they're just not emphasizing it, and it's kind of annoying to me because if you're drafting JSN, who's an assassin between the numbers, but you're not dialing up anything for him to actually work in between the numbers, then what's the point? Like, I don't know. It's kind of annoying to me.
My tinfoil hat theory about this is that they're saving him. I know it's not a popular theory. I never thought he was going to be a huge volume guy necessarily, but I thought he was going to be an important catches guy, a glue guy, a keep the drive moving guy, very much like Tyler Boyd. Boyd is not typically a high volume guy, but he is a high importance guy as the third guy on the offense. And I really thought that was the role that JSN was going to hold and sort of secure, that the Seahawks have been looking for and not have. Instead, they've just kind of like not used him really at all. And, my secret hope is that they're just kind of saving that push for later in the year where they can really tilt more towards that as he gets more and more comfortable. I'm losing confidence in my own theory, so I'll just stop talking. But King Bob, Bootleg Football, missed Super Chat. Bryce Young isn't the problem. O-line is giving him little time. True. Play calls are meh. Also true, but now we have a change in who's calling them. But Thielen is him. Am I wrong to have hope? In Thielen? Possibly.
Adam Thielen? The receiver, Adam Thielen?
He looks better than other things they have because of everything that's gone wrong. He is a very popular option in that offense because of the first two things that you mentioned. The O-line is not providing protection. He runs quick and short routes. And
I don't know about quick, but
and the play calls are bad. Quick.
He certainly runs routes. I don't know if he does it quickly.
I'm agreeing with you, King Bob, on the first 2 points. Absolutely. Thielen is him, not in a fully functioning offense. He's not. He can be as an outlet when everything else is falling apart, which has been what's been occurring over the first 6 or 7 weeks. So Brett mentioned it earlier, change at the OC in terms of who's calling plays. We're going to see if that changes anything. Maybe it changes nothing. Maybe it changes a lot of things. Maybe it changes things for the worse. I'm not sure how that would be possible, but it is theoretically possible, or maybe it gets better. So give it a couple weeks. Let's see what the changes are. Bryce has played some good football in between all the chaos. He has not played all good football. He is still a rookie quarterback in the NFL, but he has not played all terrible football. He has not looked like somebody that is totally overmatched. So there is hope there. Let's see. Let's hope we see a little bit more of it with the change in offensive play caller. But thanks for giving us your super chat, and thanks for letting us know we missed it. We appreciate it.
Storm for $5 says, "What do you take from CD being on the other side of the sideline from his team/body language?" So I was right behind CD, and I was watching him, and he was again late in the game, kind of like away from his team, towel on his head, everything like that. And I don't know like what the cameras were showing, because again I was watching it live. I wasn't watching it on TV. But then and at the time I was like, oh, okay, CD's just kind of watching the game develop and just kind of being by himself while watching it, which isn't inherently a bad thing. And then I watched him later interacting with Dak, interacting with his teammates and coaches, and he seemed perfectly fine. So I don't know what narrative was created on TV. I don't know what angles were shown of him on TV. But when I was watching him with my own eyes from 30 feet away, he seemed perfectly fine and cordial with everybody and happy and joking and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Whatever narrative is being created is probably not a big deal. All right, Jags back on the field. Had a little penalty, false start, sent them to 1st and 15. Now they're still going to be like 2nd and 11-ish. I have a lot more confidence in them converting 2nd and 11 than I do the Saints. Oh, no, now we're 3rd and 6. Okay.
I was going to say, well, we do get some ETN rushing yards here. Not as many as we would theoretically like, but we're halfway through the third quarter. I think there's still hope for our gathering of players for Underdog.
It's the fact that they called a run on 3rd and 6 that's intriguing to me. Well, they probably didn't call a run. That was probably Trevor saw something in the front and checked into it, and it almost worked.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I can't think of anything except Scooby-Doo when you say that.
But a run on 3rd and 6 is interesting. It kind of looked like it was outside zone, but like the way the front was, it's almost like they expected to catch them in a slant, which they almost did. And they just missed it by about a foot.
Yeah. I mean, missed it by that much.
If this was Philly, they would have tush-pushed this thing, but Jacksonville is obviously not Philly, so
I would say that's absolutely true. Nicholas Cox for $1.99 on Super Chat. What are your thoughts on Devin Witherspoon so far? 2 thumbs up.
Witherspoon. He's Rondé Barber. That's what he is.
Yeah, I've seen him in person twice now. Very intriguing player. Looks just like he did on his college film, and there are very few players that transition from college to the NFL and sort of don't skip a beat. Jalen Carter's film looks just like it did in college, just whipping people and winning damn near instantly. Spoon beating people up on the outside, making hyper-aggressive plays against the run. His film looks just like it did at Illinois, which is a credit to him because the jump in competition can't really be, overstated. It is huge. And if you can pick up right where you left off, essentially, you're doing great. And that's Spoon in a nutshell.
He's physical. He's a great tackler. Short area quickness is off the charts. Like, he is born to be a nickel/safety. And when he was coming out, I said I like him a lot at corner, but I love him at safety. And in a lot of ways, nickel is a comparable position to safety in terms of the types of things that they have to do. So I think he should just stay at nickel forever because his skill set is perfect for it. Again, I think he'd be a really, really good outside corner, but I think he's going to be a ridiculous nickel. So I would just leave him there. He's perfect for it.
That's a great band name. We need to start a list of band names.
Ridiculous nickel.
Ridiculous nickel.
Saw them play the side stage at Coachella last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Passed out due to the heat, but their set was solid.
Yeah.
All right, I need to get another beer, and I I don't know. I don't think I'm going to allow chat to vote on my shot. I said I would take a shot, but I think I'm
You
going
don't
to
want
take
to
a
risk
shot.
that. I speak from
Nah,
experience. You don't want to risk chat controlling what you drink.
I don't, for the most part, put terrible liquors in my house, and if I do, I don't tell people they're here, so nobody knows that they can vote for them. All right, I'm going to grab a refill and be right back. But I think you kind of nailed it on your score prediction. You said this one screams if either team cracks 20, I believe was what you said.
Was that about this game?
I believe so at one point. I'm giving you credit
I
for
thought
it.
maybe.
Just take it. Just take it.
I'll take it. I can't remember if it was about this game or the Lions game, but I don't know.
Probably was.
I mean, either way, it's correct. I don't know if either team's going to crack 20 on this one.
You could be right twice this week, Brett.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right. Well, you get beer. I will provide the commentary. So Saints back here, still not being able to run the ball against this Jags front. Shocker, I know.
Well, that was Fatukasi. That's a reason not to run the ball right there. He is an absolute tree stump.
So 2nd and 10 from the Jags. Not typically a blitz down for them. We do see a bunch of one rat, a bunch of but going empty. Now I'm curious to see how they handle empty on 2nd and long. That just looked like cover 3. Oh man, hell of a play to break that up. Who was that? 33. Is that Lloyd? Is he 33? But for him to not have, that was Devin Lloyd. For him to not have leverage on that and still get out there in time to get a hand on that ball, that's incredibly impressive. Because he didn't have leverage. He just had to go. He had to get on his horse and get out there. All right, quarters on 3rd and long. Carr under pressure again, and it's picked. Off the deflection. Alukun all the way. Is he in? Maybe somebody is going to score more than 20. How about that? Off the deflection. Great hands by Alukun. Remember, we talked earlier in the stream about zone coverages having a tendency to generate more turnovers, whereas man coverages have a tendency to more generate PBUs. Again, zone coverage here, quarters. Who was that drove on it? So it looked like an in-cut. Corner was able to drive on it. And again, when you have a whole bunch of, when you're in zone and everybody's got zone eyes, when the ball pops up in the air, their back's not turned. They're not mirroring a receiver. Everybody's got zone eyes because they can look at the ball and go for it. That's why defensive coordinators typically like zone coverage, is you have a higher likelihood of generating turnovers from deflections like that one. So hell of a play. Hell of a play. TJ Hayes for $5. Any hope for Ramondre in fantasy? He seems to look the same from last year, but the Pats are so bad / Zeke doesn't look terrible. I don't have any hope for any Patriots player in fantasy right now. Like, the offensive line is broken. Mac is broken. Like, if you're in a PPR league, I guess, but I honestly, I wouldn't play any Patriots player at all in fantasy. Like, I just wouldn't do it. It's not worth your time. Everything's broken. You missed a pick 6, EJ.
I heard. I was just sitting down, but it's not like we haven't seen turnovers in this game, seen extra chances, for either team. That's
Aluakun caught it off a deflection. Corner drove on it. Looked like just a dig route or something, and corner drove on it, popped it up. Aluakun grabbed it and ran it in.
Now you're going to make me sad because you know how I feel about Aluakun.
I know you love Aluakun.
Yeah. All right. So we went with a themed choice. We did the Modelo lime and salt for the beer, and grabbed a chilled shot of Lunazul.
Ooh,
clear tequila.
Yeah. So EJ's going to have a fun night.
And only shot glass. Why not? Why not? We're already having a fun night. Everybody's here. We're talking football. Got to wear my nice, soft, comfy homage Jag shirt. Like, you're wearing your Texans starter jacket that you got from homage. Like, let's go.
I don't think that they've sold out yet on the new starters that just dropped on Monday, by the way. So
No, the pullover jackets are still on the site. So pullover jackets just dropped on Monday. There are still some teams available. Some teams have sold out, but they have greater stock this year than they've ever had. So if you are interested, I don't know that we have the link in this particular description, but go to one of the podcasts, grab the link out of there, and you can go to homage any purchase you make, starter jacket or not, whether it's a movie t-shirt, national park sweatshirt, any of the NFL gear. They have Major League Baseball license as well. Any gear you buy using that link supports the podcast. So go support homage. They support us. They've been tremendous partners. Got some fun stuff coming with them that we're looking forward to. But it was funny. My wife picked up the Seahawks sweatshirt that I got, the throwback one. And she was like, "Oh, I love new sweatshirts." And I was like, "Honey, that sweatshirt's been washed like 5 times. Like, that is not a new sweatshirt." And she was like, "It's so soft." And I was like, "Yeah, we've been telling people. That's right."
The Jags guy that we saw in London's there too. The one who wears like the full. It's like Green Man from It's Always Sunny, but it's a Jaguar. He pulls over his. I don't know how he breathes in it, but
I don't know how he breathes in it.
It's like he goes to like every Jags game. So there was a Bills super fan that we talked to at Bills Packers last year that had been to how many games in a row?
I have to look it up. I had a tweet on that, but somebody said the number to me before I met him, because I said, "Who's that?" It was not obviously a fan that other fans were gravitating towards and taking pictures with. This was at a tailgate before the Bills game, before Packers Bills that we went to in Orchard Park last year. And they said, "Oh, that's," and I forget his name, Tim or whoever. And I was like, "Oh, what's Tim's deal?" And they're like, "Oh, he's been to," and they said the number and Bills games in a row.
It was like 280 something. Yeah.
And I looked at him and I was like, home games? And they were like, "No." And I was like, oh, like it hit me all at once. I was like, oh, shit. Like, that is, like 20 years of going to every Bills game home and away. And I was just like, that's just mind-boggling. Like, it's ridiculous.
That man spent a lot of money to watch JP Lossman play football live.
I fully agree, but he was incredibly gracious. We got a picture with him. I got to talk to him for a few minutes. I kind of didn't even know what to ask. I'm like, what's the coolest thing you've seen? Come on, like, you've seen everything from one team's brand of football for the last like 2 decades. It was crazy just to think about it. But it's one of the coolest parts of what we get to do. And did you see last week on the Bills broadcast, they showed the bowling ball?
Yeah, your bowling ball.
And I was like, hey.
Your lips have been on it.
I recognize that bowling ball. I'm familiar with that bowling ball.
God, Darius Williams is just smacking people tonight. Also, I think it was, I believe it was Darius Williams who got the PBU that led to the pick six.
I'm telling you, if you are not a Darius Williams fan, if you arrived not being a Darius Williams fan, you will not leave the same way. You will leave with an appreciation for that guy's ability to play football. He is so good.
I think we might have just hit on Olave first downs because he just got one on the speed out there. That might have been his 4th first down, in which case we are 2 down, 3 to go.
We still need our sack. Not going to get it here. Well, at least not from the right player.
Let's see. We still need one more from Christian Kirk. We need another 30 yards from ETN and then Josh Allen to get a sack. So again, doable. Not super confident, but it's doable.
Yeah, we need to, the good thing about the pick six is that it gives the Jags a fairly sizable lead at this point in the game, and they might be more inclined to protect the ball and run it more. Which
Aluakun has scored as many touchdowns in New Orleans as Derek Carr this season. Oh no, that's awful.
oh, okay,
That's so bad.
ouch, but true.
All right, 3rd and 6. I have almost zero hope for this.
Joey Nichols says a potato is greater than JP Lossman.
See, they couldn't convert 3rd and 6. Shocker. Again,
However,
this offense sucks.
They're not done yet. Spoiler alert, they're not done yet.
I shouldn't say sucks. That's disrespectful. This offense is.
Because you never say disrespectful things about football.
I don't mean to.
Oh,
I'm not trying to like disrespect other guys trying to do their job, but at the same time, they are not effective.
I called somebody accurate and athletic last night, and I got a DM this morning that I pooped on him pretty hard, quote unquote. And I was like, dude, I called him accurate and athletic. Like, how is that?
But you didn't call him a freak of nature or.
Yes.
There was a tweet this week, and I can't remember who it was from. And it was Steve from PFF, and they're talking about how like QB discourse is dead because everybody, in terms of like whether or not a quarterback is determined to be a bust, is basically whether or not he's a top 8 quarterback in the league. And if you're not a top 8 quarterback, you're considered a bust. And how like just absolutely insane that is, that it's the only position where unless you are literally one of the best 25% at your job, you are considered a flat out bust, which means at any given moment, 75% of the league has busts at quarterback. Like, it sounds insane, but it's actually kind of true. Like fans
100%
are immediately ready to move on from their guy unless they are Joe Burrow.
Well, here's the funny thing about that pooped on discourse that I was talking about. I was talking about the 2024 potential quarterback draft class.
Mm-hmm.
And because I didn't put this particular quarterback at QB3 in that a very loaded draft class, I was, quote unquote, pooping on him. And I was like, dude, do you know, like, this class is going to be loaded at quarterback. Like, there's potentially like 8 quarterbacks who can play in this class, like legit. And because I didn't rank him 3rd on October 18th, like I was
a hater.
Not something. I was like, no, let's not do this. This is dumb.
But that's the thing, is like the standard is so obnoxiously high that unless you're calling somebody elite, you're a hater. And it's like,
that's right.
There's such a middle ground here. You know,
there should be. And again, the funny thing is, I don't dislike this prospect as a player. Like I think there's some potential there. Do I think he's top 3 in this very loaded class? I don't think that right now, but it's freaking October. That's why we're not talking about stacks and ranks, because we're not at all done. There is a lot of process to play out here. So
too many people mean bad when they say mid. Yes, correct. Mid doesn't mean mid. People use mid as an insult when mid is supposed to mean like average. And average in itself is considered an insult because, again, either you're elite or you're replaceable. And it's like, there's 53 guys on the team. You can't have a team full of elite players. Like, there's got to be some fucking mid in there. Like,
yeah, there's got to be some guys.
Has to be.
Blue guys, right? And the crazy thing is, anybody that's in the NFL is really, really good at football. Yes. And I will take no arguments to the contrary. Like, it is so hard to make the NFL, to be one of the top 1,800 players literally in the world is so hard to do. And all these people like, they suck. And it's like, yeah, you might say they suck to historical norms of greatness. Sure, I'll accept that argument. But the fact that they got to play any meaningful football in the NFL means they were great.
They're probably the best player to ever come out of their high school. You know,
usually. typically.
Unless they're modern day kids, Just saying,
Oh,
we've got a long list.
Here we
Got a
go.
long list.
It was St. John Bosco, right?
Shut the fuck up.
No,
Don't you
literally.
dare speak that name.
You replied and you're like, why is it always them? And what's the record? It's like 56-4 or something?
Since
Or
2011,
91
91-6, and like I think all of those losses came to Bosco.
It's like 91-4,
Bosco.
91-6. And I'm like, when you say always and you mean 4, you're part of that discourse out of 100. Like, why is it always? Oh, 4 times out of 100, always. Okay. It's like,
they're the only ones
fine.
that can, EJ.
Apparently.
Also, they're the only team that buys players at the same rate. So
the truth comes out. Zachary Kreitz for $5. Brett, I will have you know, this offense does a great job of helping opposing defensive coordinators sleep at night. That's what they're good at. Oh, I love it.
Taysom Hill is what keeps him up, though. Look at that man scoot.
He's a tremendous athlete.
He really is. And he's over 30 now, isn't he? And he still can run like that, I think.
He doesn't fit in a box, but he is the fact that he can survive in the league outside of all those boxes is amazing in its own right. He's a very, very talented player. Don't know exactly what to call him. Don't know what I would pay him. Probably not as much as he's making, but would I want him on my football team? Like, hell yeah, he could do a lot of things. Like, he's a useful dude.
Modern day anytime mention and little appearance. Check your bootleg slips chat. And we also got EJ doing a Blanco tequila.
Yep.
Let's see what other bootlegisms have we hit?
Well, we talked about snarky beer. We talked about not having absolutes in terms of player evaluation. Holy crap, is that a shot? No, we've hit a lot of bootleg bingo cards tonight. We probably filled up at least a couple.
Solid bingo card tonight.
Yeah.
Tampa versus Bills might be fun next. Ooh, is it Tampa versus Buffalo for TNF next week? That's kind of a fun one, not gonna lie.
Let me look.
That's fun. I'm all about that.
That's fun. All right, Jags Saints this week. Next week, yes, indeed. Bucks at Bills. Thursday start October 26th. Man, this is just my.
Oh, I did not see that hit.
It was a nasty hit.
Oof.
Oh, okay. Followed up by another one. Not near as nasty, but very, very solid. I gotta give the defender who you've not yet seen make this hit his flowers. That was a really good read. Oh yeah, legal hit too. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. This is my nostalgia moment. This is my upstate New York nostalgia moment. I'm looking at this. Bucks Bills, October 26th in Western New York. And I'm like, the leaves, it's going to be crisp, little frost on the pumpkin. Like, we could hang out, go trick-or-treating with Drew and Chris again.
October in Buffalo is...
It's lovely.
It's amazing.
Lovely stuff.
It's perfect. Like, it's the definition of perfect fall.
We get some pizza, some wings, be all set.
I couldn't go out this year, but I want to go to next season forward. I want to go to an October game in Buffalo every year. It's amazing out there.
It's great. My family would not be at all upset about that.
No. Especially when we get those apple cider donuts, the fresh ones that we had last time. Fucking A, man.
Yeah. My mother-in-law, bless her heart, she sends me cider donuts from the Northeast. They're not quite the same after the mail, but I do appreciate the effort.
Let's see. Why? So Harrison for $5. Why have so many of the best offenses from last year struggled this year? Bengals, Chiefs, Bills. Bengals, a lot of it in terms of how much of it was on Joe Burrow's calf. I can't pinpoint an exact percentage. Clearly, he's fine now.
A bunch in the beginning. A bunch.
Clearly, he's fine now.
Yeah, he couldn't drive the ball and he couldn't move up to really about 2.5 weeks ago. And then you started to see it come back, and he could plant and throw. And all of a sudden, they start hitting deep balls to Jamar, and it looks different.
The offensive line is also playing a lot better in terms of run blocking. They couldn't run block for shit in the first few weeks, and they're doing a lot better at that now. So I would say a lot of it is just A, Joe getting healthier, and B, the offensive line playing better. For the Chiefs haven't been bad to me, but they have been less dynamic than we're used to. And I think they're still trying to figure out which non-Travis Kelce receivers they can trust. Rashee Rice has flashed a little bit, especially after the catch. Rashee Rice has flashed. We haven't seen Sky Moore live up to his draft status yet. We haven't seen Kadarius Toney live up to the resources they've spent on him yet. Like, they'll get him involved, but he hasn't been like a dynamic addition for them. I would say the Mecole trade was telling, because I think after 6 weeks they realized we're not getting what we want from these guys, and so we gotta get somebody who we know who can give us a little bit of dynamism, which is going to be Hardman, especially deep down the field. But it's not that the Chiefs' offense is bad, but they're certainly not dynamic outside of Kelce Mahomes doing Kelce Mahomes things. And I have to imagine the Mecole trade was in an effort to try to regain some of that dynamism, because he can still run. Like, say what you want about Mecole, he can still run. And then as for the Bills, they've been inconsistent. A lot of it is they go as Josh goes. When Josh has a great Josh day, they're going to be unstoppable. When Josh is throwing up arm punts, they're going to look like they did in week 1. Inconsistency with the run game has also been a big problem for them too. But when is it not? It's the Buffalo Bills. Oh man, Alvin almost got there.
I feel like I want to redeem my Devin Lloyd stock at this point.
I'm telling you, man, he's played a lot better this year.
He's looked much more like he did in college, which was dominant. But the Saints come right back here.
Good to see Foster Moreau still out there, by the way. I was worried about that hit, but he's out there.
Dude, 16 plays, 76 yards. That is a heck of a drive. I mean, if you're talking about the modern NFL, that is the kind of drive as a defensive coordinator that you want to force. Give them 16 shots to make a mistake, and they don't, and they end up scoring. I got to give credit to New Orleans there. People have been, speaking of pooping on Carmichael in the chat. Oh!
What happened?
And we get a doink on the extra point, but it goes in.
I'm gonna refresh mine, because I'm tired of being 20 seconds behind you.
Are you watching Prime Vision?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The Prime Vision one's going to be behind the live broadcast.
Oh, you're watching the normal one.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that explains it.
Well, some of it for sure. The big lag, I would say, it explains some of it.
Why did the Hawks trade for a wide receiver? Which receiver did the Hawks trade for?
I thought they just elevated one off their practice squad. I don't know if they traded for one. I missed it. I know they elevated one off their practice squad. But it wasn't the one I
must have missed that news.
But it wasn't the one I wanted, so I was disappointed. Well, maybe not, because that means he could still be stolen. Hope springs eternal.
Thoughts on Prime Vision? I love it. I think it's the best way to watch a football game. The fact that I can see everything is awesome.
Yeah. Prime Vision's great.
Like, it is, for me at least, from a TV experience, Prime Vision is the best. And
did you catch the thing last Saturday that I sent you?
Oh, the split screen where they were showing the wide. Yeah. I watched a little bit of that. I wasn't a fan because the fact that you're seeing both of them at the same time means that they're both really little. And I couldn't, again, it was like, that meme from Community where he's like, what is this? An all 22 for ants? Like, I couldn't really see what was going on.
You need a bigger TV to make it work. That's just the thing. But I was impressed that a college broadcast was going to that level of detail, and then they had all the stat breakdowns at the bottom. This is, for those of you following along at home, SEC's, I think they call it Command Center. It's on the SEC network, and they were showing literally the end zone view and what you would consider the typical TV view at the same time. I thought it was, I'm with you. It's not my favorite way to watch a football game, but in terms of information presented, I thought it was a step up from a lot of traditional broadcasts, and I appreciated them trying to, take that leap and do a little more. Fascinating to me.
All right, ETN just got big rush.
He's up
at
a bunch more.
46. So we need 20 more yards from ETN.
And I think
one more first down from Kirk.
I think we might get that.
We have a decent shot. We have a decent shot.
We had it.
And this is why we do insurance on slips, folks, so that if the Josh Allen sack doesn't come through, we can still make some money on this.
I feel like he's still going to get a few opportunities, though. They're going to have to throw the ball a little bit. The Saints are not going to be able to run their way back into this one, so they are going to have to drop back and throw. And somebody pointed out in chat earlier that Josh Allen's been playing great. In our summer preview series on our wrap up for AFC South, I believe I picked him as my defensive player of the year for AFC South. I felt at that point like he was primed for a breakout. He's playing very well at the end of last year. Does not get a lot of press. And by a lot, I mean kind of any. Oh no, not good.
Well, now we're going backwards. Oh no, is ETN okay?
That's what I don't like.
Right.
He got folded on his
slow to get up, but it looks like he's up.
It's Malcolm Roach. He ends up getting folded on his knee, and it's not a dirty play or anything. This is just a football play, but it's not a pretty one.
God, that's a tough hit. I will say, I did not have Travis Etienne bell cow back on my bingo card anywhere ever, but he's acquitted himself well in that role. Like, you know how many running backs get 20-plus touches a game? Almost none of them. But he is. Like, he's taking
I think it was
load.
I think it was one last year.
Yeah. It's a rare thing. Oh, man, Trevor's getting beat up now.
Yeah, this is not.
That Saints D-line, man. The Saints D-line is the only thing keeping them in games this year because the offense has been so anemic. But the D-line is so damn good.
The funny thing is you've been 30 seconds behind me all night, and now you're 6 seconds ahead of me.
I refreshed. That's why.
Yeah, but I can refresh all night long, and I will catch up to you because I'm at live right now. This is I had this conversation with somebody tech-wise earlier in the week. I said, this is one of the most frustrating things to me is that there is no way to sync this. And I realize it's like item number 387 on Amazon's wish list to do because most people, don't care. Like if we were sitting on the couch here and broadcasting, we'd just be watching the game. There would be one copy of it and we would be quote unquote on time and together. Not very many people probably live stream this with two people. Like Grossi's just sitting there watching the game. He has one copy. He's not ahead or behind. He's just watching his copy. We have two people, both in the same time zone, but for many technical reasons we won't bore you with, we get different perspectives of the game. And the crazy thing is, a couple of weeks ago, actually about a month ago, I realized that there are 6 devices in this room that I could run it off of, and all 6 of them could have a different time signature.
I would bet, yeah.
It's crazy.
Mecole Hardman was worth a pick swap. I mean, for the Chiefs, he was worth a pick swap because the Chiefs know him and they know how to use him, and he's got a connection with Pat and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't say he's worth a pick swap for every team.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So Curtis Rogers for $2 on Super Chat. Is Baker the new Fitzpatrick? I love this one. It's
not a bad comp, honestly. In terms of what they are, and
he's getting there. Like he is absolutely getting there. He needs another 2 teams or something to catch up to Fitz at least. But
more than that.
They're in the same ballpark. I'm with you. It's not a bad comp. It's not unreasonable to think of it in that frame. So Good one, Curtis. I appreciate that.
E10 in chat says you can pause it though. We cannot, because when we unpause it, it jumps back to live. So that is
That's
not
right.
that is unfortunately not a viable solution.
Everybody says that every week. So I appreciate that you're trying to fix our problems for us. And if anybody has a real fix, I'm all about it. But yes, when you unpause it, it jumps back to live. And something that I have found in trying to do this is there's almost like a key signature, depending on which device you sign in on and how it is wired or not wired, and you cannot get away from that signature on that device. Once you have kind of logged into the time stream, however you do it, no matter how many times you refresh, restart, whatever, if you come back on that device and don't change the way that it's connected to the internet or the stream that you're watching, you will be on like the same time signature, and you cannot move that ahead or behind.
They're highlighting Josh Allen right now with 7
I
pressures,
know.
and they're just teasing me. Just teasing me, man.
So close. Come on, man. I need one of those pressures to pay off. And this is why we say pressures are more impactful than sacks, is because pressures are, I think, a much cleaner indication of how often a player is winning is one-on-one matchups. And sacks, again, are extremely fickle. Pressures are less so.
Stream it to the other person on Discord. Would that work?
Theoretically, it would be closer. We'll have to try it.
That's an interesting thought.
I like the suggestion. Somebody suggested it last year, and we sort of dismissed it out of hand for technical difficulty because most folks don't realize what we do to do this anyways.
Oh, yeah. No, there's a whole fucking mess of technology that goes on just to get it this way because of how we have to use like Google Meet and to get eGens. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's
oh
ugh.
Arm punt, but now Carr is very upset that he threw the ball 3 yards out of bounds and nobody went after it. He's so angry. What is that?
So it looked like he thought that Olave was going to keep going, and Olave throttled down. Carr's pissed at him because he thought.
Yeah, but he still threw it 3 yards out of bounds. Like, he wouldn't have caught it anyways. Like, what are you mad about, dude? You threw that to the parking lot.
And even then, like, Olave throttled down because it looked like there was a corner playing him over the top, and so he thought that Carr wasn't going to throw it anyway.
It seems like fake outrage to me. Like, I threw that ball so far out of bounds, you didn't catch it. I'm mad. Like, wait, what? Like, why are you mad, dude? Like, you didn't make the play anyways, man. I don't know. So
looking at these shots of New Orleans, I miss NOLA. I want to go back. I love it.
Time to go back. You know, we talked about it last year, and what we need to do is coordinate with Brad Spielberger from PFF and his wife.
Yeah, do a NOLA trip with them.
Yeah, because they were married there. She's from there. You know, little local knowledge never hurts. And Brad's a great guy to hang out with anyways. So we need
trickeration. Drop for a loss. Maybe using T-Law as a lead blocker on Granderson isn't a great idea, but what do I know?
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Whoa. Little Olay motion there.
Are you on Prime or NFL Plus? We are on Prime. Well, Prime Vision.
Prime straight up. Yep.
Prime Vision for me, normal Prime for EJ.
I should try NFL Plus and just see if it's different because I have both.
You have NFL Plus?
Yeah.
I guess that's what you use it for the shortened game.
I use it for the preseason too because I actually like preseason.
Oh, true.
Because we get to see a lot of players that we've talked about in the most recent draft cycle getting meaningful reps.
Did Ridley catch? Oh my God, he caught that. Hold on. What in the world? Were both of his feet in? Hold on. I mean, it'd be a PI. I would give it to him. Rule of cool. If it's that cool, just give it to him.
The rule of cool. I love the rule of cool. It's cool enough. We're just giving it to him.
What a throw, by the way, too. Far hash. Oh, no, they called it incomplete. Man.
Is this game even on Plus?
I don't think so.
I don't think it is.
I think Bezos. Oh, okay, you got it. There you go. That's a makeup flag for them not calling the PI for restricting Ridley's hands in the last one anyway. So we'll take the makeup flag.
We don't need the makeup flag. We need a catch, and not from Agnew. Who is
if this extends the drive so that we can get our Christian Kirk first down, I'm all for it.
Okay. I agree. Point noted.
Go to a Tulane game, scout my boy Pratt. Is that the Tulane Tulane quarterback, I think, is Pratt, right?
Tulane's been turning out players for the last several years that have been a lot of fun. So. Okay. Yep. Nope. I'm calling that a totally legit flag.
Yeah, that is the quarterback. Another quarterback I have to study in this class, EJ. There's only 12 of them.
Yeah, I mean,
so fucking many quarterbacks in this class.
I would go easy on that because there are such great numbers of quality quarterbacks in this class. Folks that are on the edges, folks that get a late injury, folks that have the opportunity to return and have a decent situation to better, their stock, are going to look around and go, hey, should I be quarterback 9 in this class or should I be quarterback 4 or 5 in next class? Because that's a difference of about $2 million over the initial contract.
Tulane's been churning out Bengals rotational guys like clockwork. That's good. I like that.
Come on.
All right, 3rd and 1. Give me a little rub oh, no, Kirk's not even on the field. Okay, ETN it is.
I'll ask that question later.
God, was that?
Did he back up on Prime? No, you can back up on Prime, but the problem is every time you try and go live, well, do me a favor. Do you have the little 10-second back thing on Prime?
No, they don't offer that. At least on Prime Vision, they don't offer that. I don't know about normal Prime. Also, the fact that ETN stayed on his feet long enough to turn that from a 4th and 3 to a 4th and inches is crazy. That's a hell of a play by him. Good tackle, by the way, to even get to him in the first place, but for him to stay up for an extra 3 yards is crazy.
Apparently his knee is okay.
Yeah, apparently. And
now my problem is,
I think they might have stopped him. I don't know.
Unless they're forced to, they're not going to throw it to Christian Kirk, which is going to be the downfall of our grouping of players and stats, I think. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that D-line held firm once again. God, they are so good. Just no push at all. Honestly, the fact that they got so much push on their first touchdown tonight, it was the only time they really moved this D-line back. Somehow the Saints are still sort of kind of in this game, and that amazes me.
It is a close game. We've still got 7 minutes, 30 seconds. It's still a game. So hover over your.
Hold on, let me try this.
If you hover over it, there should be a pause in the middle, a 10-second back to the left, and a 10-second forward to the right.
No, it's not giving me that.
That's odd.
Why?
Yeah.
How come I don't get that, but everybody else does? Do I need to be logged in?
You're watching it on Twitch, aren't you?
I'm on Twitch.
Yeah, you're on Twitch. On Twitch, I don't think they do it.
Oh, hold on. Let me try this. Let me go to the actual Amazon.
Yeah, no, I'm on actual Amazon Prime. So
maybe that's been the problem all along, is I've been on Twitch and you haven't.
Possibly. I did have to say, I watched the game where Las Vegas got to unfurl their Stanley Cup banner, and it was versus the Kraken. And the food ads on the boards made me hungry. And as you know, I'm not a huge fan of the chicken place that everybody clamors for when we go to Vegas.
I'm doing it.
But
I'm conducting a test. I'm pausing for 5 seconds, and now let's. Okay, it still jumped me back live. So I can use the 10-second return, but I can't pause it and then let it go. That's so
well, you don't
weird.
need to. Just use the 10-second return.
All right, so now I'm going back live. Why do they make it this hard?
Well, because again, very few people have our use case where two people in two different locations are trying to have a synced experience.
So right now it's just showing the replay of Trevor.
Yep.
So are we in the same spot? Did we make it work?
So.
It only took 7 weeks to get it right, right?
Maybe. We'll see. All right. Are you at the split screen?
No, I'm on Prime. I'm still on Prime Vision.
No. I meant the split screen. So tell me when they snap it to Carr.
So Thomas is getting tackled right now. He just went down.
Okay, I'm only like 3 seconds behind you. That's not bad.
Not bad.
That's
We'll take it. You know, the resolution's better on Amazon too compared to Twitch. Interesting.
I don't know. I didn't watch on Prime, so I can't say. It's been fine.
Oh my God,
right.
Taysom going up and grabbing a corner route.
Yeah,
the man does everything. He's just advertising himself for Sean Payton at this point. Come and get me.
Yeah, he's in the cover 2 hole, like going up to get. Like again, we said earlier, just a really good football player.
All right.
Yeah.
Another back. Oh, this time he threw it ahead of Thomas. We're not going back shoulder, and it's a touchdown. How about that?
It is not a touch. No.
I think he got his feet in.
Do you?
On first viewing, it looked like he got his feet in.
On first viewing, I did not think he got his feet in, but the ref was right there, so and he called it pretty decisively. So we'll see on the replay. They have not yet shown a replay.
So I'm looking at the replay right now. Ball in hand right there. Knee's in. Yeah, we're good.
Is it knee?
It's knee.
There's a toe, and then does he get a knee in? Yeah, knee is 2 feet. Knee is 2 feet. That's a touchdown.
The first time they don't throw it back shoulder all night, and they score. Who knew? All right, they're going for 2 to tie this thing up. Somehow.
Great body control by Michael Thomas. I gotta give it to him. That was laying out for that thing, still making sure to get a knee down. Are we doing this again? We are doing this again.
But
that's Carr split out wide.
The fact that this game is tied is just insane to me.
And he's running a pick. Let's use our quarterback to run a pick. Okay, sure.
Worked though.
Ball
don't lie.
Bottom line, that's what you said. The game's tied. The game is indeed tied. And that is a case of not great execution by the Jags and the Saints getting themselves, I will say, unstuck to keep it a PC broadcast.
But like the fact that the Jags fumbled this bag away, like they were crushing them.
They were cruising. I fully agree. But it's 60 minutes. They haven't played them all yet.
It's amazing that they just completely stalled. And credit to the Saints defensive line for making play after play after play after play to keep the Saints in this game. Like they get blown the hell out without this Saints defensive line playing like monsters. That's incredible.
It's impressive. And, the fact that New Orleans is at home, it matters. Matters on this one.
Nicholas says, I'm an effing genius.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Thank you.
They have not played well. Once I saw the purple banner, I knew you're on Twitch, and I was like, "Oh, okay, let's try and at least reduce one more variable.
Carr just got over 200 passing yards. Honestly, I'm surprised it's even that much.
All right, so here we go. We got Trevor on the field. He's got plenty of time left. Tie ball game. I think if they get themselves together here, they being the Jags, they can take this game. They can put their stamp on it, and I believe they can do that. Good 3-4 minute drive here ends up in a touchdown. They play good defense. I believe that they can do that, but they're going to have to do both of those things.
If they play it right, they'll never leave the field. But they need one of those 16 play, just ridiculous drives of their own.
And, it'll come down to timeouts and 2-minute warning and everything else. I don't think that they'll be able to leave no time on the clock. What they really need to come out of this with is 7 points, not 3.
Yeah. Make Carr have to drive the length of the field again.
Yeah. Do not leave this one to kicks. Somebody said earlier, EJ, I bet on a kicker and now I'm regretting it. Yes, you will always do that.
And there goes Trevor. Oh, big run from Trevor. He might be their leading rusher tonight, actually. ETN's at 53.
Yeah. I mean, the crazy thing is Mahomes is Kansas City's second leading rusher, like by a bunch. It's Lawrence. Pacheco and then Mahomes.
Lawrence is at 4 for 40. So he's close. ETN's at 53.
Yeah. No, he's had some good chunks. And again, they've been good decisions from him. Like, if the defense is going to give you, if the defense is just going to part the Red Sea and let you go 12 or 15 yards, like, take it. It's a free first down.
Oh, man. They're calling the Odell reverse. So I love it. So when they're basically faking like they're running crunch and they're having Ingram come down like he's going to block down, and then he just turns and runs, and then they kind of like flip it out to the receiver. So every offense has tried this at some point, and it's always either a loss or a 40-yard gain and nothing in between.
Oh, who's 17?
But I love the balls to call it. 17 for that's the Ingram for the Jags.
Ingram, yeah. Well, that explains it.
You're not paying him to block, EJ. He's better at it than he was in New York. He's better at it than he was in New York. But he's still not great.
Oh, be my guest. Go tackle. Like, oh, wait. That destroys the whole play. I guess I should have. Yeah, you should have. Don't do that.
Oh, Trevor is 63 on the ground. Okay, so so 40 was before they updated it.
I was going to say, I don't think that last run was probably included because it feels like he has more than that. But there you go.
I have to think that 4-down territory is a possibility here, considering field position. Like, you're already at midfield. Maybe just get something cheap and quick. Set up like a manageable 4th down. Okay, they're going to go for it all.
Gas station sushi?
Now you kind of got to punt. 4th and 10 at midfield. Now you got to try to pin him. Man, Trevor, out of a low percentage ball there in that situation, I'm not in love with it.
Well,
like situationally, I'm not in love with it.
Oh, look at a Deebo stay with Ridley, though. That's great. Didn't bite on the fake at all. At the catch point, elevated, got up. Like, I gotta applaud the effort there from Paulson and Deebo. That was a great play against a really good receiver.
No, excellent effort from Deebo. I'm just saying situationally, I don't think the ball should have been thrown in the first place.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you that the play call wasn't my favorite. In terms of execution on the field, that was a great play by Paulson and Deebo.
This feels very dangerous for the Jags.
Yeah, a little bit. Considering we're in New Orleans and they do not seem to be able to close this out when they should have slammed the door early, and they haven't. And we've seen this twice over the past 2 weeks where teams that were clearly superior in the early going let their opponent hang around and got beat both times.
God, we were so close to getting our Josh Allen sack. It was like quarter second away. Quarter second away.
For the ninth time tonight?
I know he's just been crushing these dudes. Andrew Speed is not having a good time out there.
No, Andrew Speed's been having a rough night.
I think Allen might be at 10 pressures now with like all of them against Pete.
Yeah. And literally he throws that ball in the grasp. Ah.
Oh shit, I walked away. The Saints scored again. Yeah, they hit like 2 big balls and then Michael Thomas fade in the end zone. Of course it worked finally.
Of course it worked because he threw it out front.
Uh-oh. Oh, man. I can't believe Carr got out of that. And then what? Who was that to? Is he hurt? That
was yards.
Did he just pop a groin while he was running?
Yep. Sure seems like it.
Oh, no. I thought the ball died on him. Maybe that's why. Like, he might have popped a groin when he was running there.
He does not look comfy.
All right, let's see. So, stop, start, and then he's going.
It looked fine at the point he let the
ball
go.
Definitely a groin, but I can't tell if he popped it before or after the throw.
And we'll see. I'm going to let this one play out. What a ball buster. The error 401. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Hernia. Yeah, there's a
lot that can go wrong down there. Let's be honest. Like, it could be anything, but he's definitely holding the groin, so it's something involving that.
Oh, that is the quote of the night for Mr. Coleman. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong down there.
Okay, that was a shitty punt.
If you're trying to win the game, it sure was.
He line drived it right to Agnew. Talk about out kicking your coverage.
And Agnew just got out of bounds to save as much time as he could for Trevor and the crew to try and, again, they've got to hang a touchdown on him. If I have the super nagging feeling, if they hang a field goal on him, it's not going to be enough, because why not tonight? Everything else weird has happened.
Well, luckily, even if Carr is out, they still got Taysom Hill, who's been doing most of their damage anyway. So,
and I was going to say, I'm not necessarily sure, especially the way Carr played in the early going, that's a downgrade.
Not necessarily.
Nope.
Either way, Jags are on the good side of the 50. They got 20 yards to go, and they can get 3. If there was ever a time for the Saints defensive line to put up another Herculean effort, now would be the time.
Jake Haener time, please.
If they throw in Haener over Taysom, that would be interesting to me.
I believe that in this particular leverage situation, this is Taysom Hill time. Would I like to see Jake Haener get some play? Yeah, not necessarily in this situation.
Brett, that Louisiana Tech receiver whose name you couldn't remember is Smoke Harris, I think. That sounds familiar. I think you're correct.
Which is super fitting given how fast he is.
Yeah, 4.3 is that's the starting point. It only goes down from there, my guess.
13 more yards for Etienne, please. Yeah, we're with you there.
So looking at the slip, again, setting up what we need to happen here. So we need Kirk to get 1 first down. We need Etienne to get 13 rushing yards. And then if we can just get 1 more first down from Chris Olave, just 1 more first down, we're paid out.
Did he not? Did he? He was not at 4. He was at 3?
3.5. He's at 3 right now.
No, but he was at 3 before. What you thought was 4 was 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's technically possible, but I've been saying technically possible for like 4 weeks now, and I've come very short almost every single week.
We're going to have to do what we've been begging coaches around the league to do next week.
What's that?
We're going to have to watch a little film. We're going to have to see what's working. We're going to have a couple of pregame meetings about this. You can't just spring the slip, or you can't just spring the group.
Yards after catch has worked.
Now, I'm saying
first downs has mostly worked.
We're going to have to study a little bit harder next week because our results have not been stellar this season.
I will say, in terms of what the numbers actually are, the fact that they're all, like on the first downs, they're all within one, means that the numbers themselves, the projections, are very accurate, which makes it very hard.
The projections of us not winning are very accurate because we have receipts in that category. We have not won a lot this year.
Well, Carr's still walking around sort of kind of normal. He's not in the medical tent.
Yeah.
Very weird.
Very odd.
The same thing kind of happened against Houston too, where he just took like a tap to the stomach, and then he like doubled over and like almost like he got the air knocked out of him, and so just very like weird injuries for him in the last couple of weeks.
Apparently, anybody that has played quarterback for Las Vegas in the past couple of years just has to get knocked out of the game once a week. It's a thing now. Like Jimmy does it every week. You know, apparently the stink or the hangover followed Carr to New Orleans because you just have to get knocked out once a week.
Get OT, slip works out. Yes. Overtime would be great for us, unironically.
Yes, that is true. I would actually like to see a connection to Christian Kirk here, not just because we have.
So there's our Kirk first down.
Yes.
And Kirk touchdown. No. Let's go. That counts, though. It counts.
And
we'll take it. And there's enough time on the clock for them to hit Olave coming back. So
wow, that is a terrible job of tackling from a Dennis Allen defense that's actually been really good in that regard.
Man, he just burned every single angle and broke it. Man, what a play.
He destroys Werner and then just runs through the rest of them. That's crazy. Great move at the catch or before the catch point. Like great juke off the line. And then Werner looked like he had a legit shot at him, and he just didn't have the juice to get him.
So we
talked. After that, he just outran everybody.
We talked before the game about how it's a very man-heavy defense. Like when rubber meets the road and they absolutely need a call, they're going to call man. Well, called man there, and to call a shake cross, which is a man beater in that situation. That's what we were hoping for the entire night. Took long enough to get there, but we finally got there.
And man, did he beat him.
That's why we took the first downs in the first place, folks. Wish they would have got to that before 57 minutes into the game, but you know, we got there. All right, so we still need the first down from Olave. I don't know if we're going to get ETN rushing at this point, but if we can get a Josh Allen sack and first down from Olave, we're good to go. I'll take the victory.
How many yards for
ETN? 13.
Possible, not likely. Possible.
So first down from Olave, sack from Allen to end the drive, get the ball back, kill the clock with ETN, hit 5 out of 5, get our $100, sleep like a baby. That's the plan, EJ. It's a lot of green lights we got to hit, but we can hit them.
Yeah, I was gonna say. It's just driving home late from work, and man, I didn't have to stop once. Hit all the green lights. It's a great feeling. I used to get that occasionally. I had a graveyard shift job, like in college, a summer in college, and man, sometimes you're coming home 6 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning after working all night, and you're like, "I'll be damned if they're not all green lights."
Another seam route to Taysom. God.
They are going to have to get a stop here if we want any of this to work because, yeah, we might get the Josh Allen sack, but other than that, we do need a stop.
Another pickup from Kamara. So it's just the Kamara and Taysom Hill show. It's like Sean Payton never left. Amazing.
It is what I would call a non-traditional NFL offense in that way, which pains me greatly because, Chris Olave does play on this team. And they did get a touchdown on Michael Thomas earlier. But, in terms of this is what they pivoted to, even late in the first quarter was the screen game. They were like, well, the one thing we can get done is screens to Kamara. So guess what we're going to do? And it's been the bedrock of their offense ever since. Like, that's how they've chipped away, and that's how they got back and got even. And
I think we might be getting so Carr gave a signal. So this was Carr's signal, smoking. To me, that's well, I was more thinking of like a tunnel screen because they were setting up trips to the field with the slot receiver 2 yards off the line of scrimmage. That screams tunnel where he's running a smoke route and then turning back. And so I think they were trying to set up a screen there before timeout got called.
Looked like Carr was frustrated with how late the play got in. He wanted more time there. He was yelling at the sideline that, come on, let's go. So either he loved the play and he didn't like it getting killed by the timeout, or he wanted it sooner so they had more time to get up to the line and see if they had to make any adjustments.
Jags
showing the promo.
Jags should alert screen here.
Showing the promo for Miami versus Philadelphia. That's going to be a heck of a game.
Talking about it on tomorrow's show.
Indeed.
The preview show. The first game we talk about is Miami.
Our leadoff game.
So it's Miami, Philly. We also talk about Detroit, Baltimore. We talk about KC, Chargers. We talk about 49ers, Vikings. And the last one was... What was the last one?
You're going to make me look it up. Week 7 preview.
Oh, look. What did I just say? Smoke route.
Yep. There you go. 2.
They wanted it.
She needed the early game hero. Dolphins, Eagles, Lions, Ravens, Steelers, Rams is the one we missed. That's the one you're going to.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Chargers, Chiefs, and the last one being 49ers, Vikings.
Oh, big run from Kamara. All right. This might go to OT.
Yeah, that's a great run from a veteran runner is what I'm going to say about that. His ability to press that seam that Jacksonville provided. Again, we always talk about the quarterback taking what the defense gives you. That was the running back taking what the defense gives you. Oh, missed it by that much.
He's got to be over 10 pressures with no sacks at this point. That's so frustrating.
I think it's 11 at
crazy.
This point. I think that was 11.
Kamara has 15 catches. Oh my god. That's such an Alvin Kamara stat line.
I'm like, dude, if you're his agent, you're just like, no, you're not paying him like a running back. You're paying him like a wide receiver. He had 15 catches in a game.
Yeah, when the average depth of target's like 2 yards. All right. What do we got, Derek? So there's another Olave catch for not a first down, so does not help me at all. But
I'm telling you, first downs are fickle.
Olave, though, I hit on Kirk, and if I hit on Olave, that's a pretty high success rate on first downs in the season for when we put it into the pickups. Because touchdowns count too.
Yeah, it's not fickle because I was right once.
Yeah, no, I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Yes. It's been a while since I heard that, but very applicable. I got to say, less impressed with the Jags defense in the second half than I really thought I was going to be. The first half, they played as expected. Second half, they have not managed.
I think they're just the most gassed. I mean, they've been on the field so much.
I don't disagree.
Also, notice he tried to throw the fade up the field again this time.
Yeah.
And sailed out of bounds. So they definitely had a discussion on the sideline when that first fade didn't work out. Of like,
Yeah, when that first fade hit the defender in the back of the head. Kamara is killing me in fantasy, yet you're not alone. There are a lot of folks just like you suffering a similar fate.
oh God, Josh Allen again, 4 freaking inches away.
Oh,
And Carr's hurt again. I still can't quite tell. Something with the groin.
yeah, he is not right. Look at Josh Allen. They keep highlighting. How many of these have we seen?
Just
Like these ISO highlights tonight.
Of just the rip through.
Like 6?
Yeah, he's
Unreal.
killing Andrews Pete tonight.
Yeah, but he still has a notch stack. Look at him. He knows. He's just like, I had him again.
And he's so tired. He's like, I've been in the backfield all friggin' night, man.
This guy's wounded. I ought to be able to get him down. Like, it's so frustrating. He's been so close so many times tonight.
I'm curious to see what he gets paid.
It ought to be a lot because
he's close to top of market, I bet.
Yeah. Honestly, if that's not what you're going to pay him, if I was his agent, I would hang your shingle up. Players like that are hard to find.
Oh, Bears would give him whatever the hell he wanted. Because they don't have any edge rushers, and they got a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, that's true. And it's also addition by subtraction. It's one less thing you have to spend a high draft pick on.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Give me Olave touchdown or give me death. That does not help me. Okay. Off of Morrow's hands.
Doink. Oh, Foster, you want that one back, dude. He hit you right in the midst.
4th and goal. This is the game.
Hey, for as much slander as we throw Carr's way, like
that hit him in the hands. Like
it was a perfect pass for touchdown with touch, with arc. I mean, you can't catch it for him. You can't do any better than that.
Nah, Carr did his job.
On target, and another defensive bust from the Jaguars. Like that's not how the defense is drawn up, folks. Somebody has coverage on him. And they were not
Oh,
covering.
my God. They brought the... Oh, he tried the front shoulder again. And they were ready for it.
And he almost picked it.
He knew it was going front shoulder, and he turned around. They threw that same route at him 3 times on the same drive. He knew it was coming. He knew they were not going to go back shoulder on it. Also, how many fucking fades can you call in one game? Oh, my God.
In the red zone.
In the red zone.
Like, what are we doing?
Use any other page of the playbook, please.
It is a low percentage play. People think fades are a high percentage throw. They are not. They're a low percentage throw. Now, to their credit, they did do what you asked earlier and switch up the receiver, but then they threw it the same way. Oh, man. You know who is having an absolute fit right now?
Mina.
Odney.
Oh, yeah. No, he hates every bit of this.
Oh, my buddy Odney in Texas is a huge Saints fan. Family is from the New Orleans area. He is, I am sure, apoplectic right now, like beside himself. Moreau knows he dropped it. That's rough.
This was a shockingly winnable game for both teams that both teams seemingly tried their darndest to give away. And in the end, the Saints just couldn't get it done.
You know what this feels like in a lot of ways? Lowest common denominator football.
I don't even feel, and that's the thing. It's fascinating because this is like a 31-24 game, and I don't feel like either team really played it particularly well. Like both defensive lines, for the most part, played great,
Yeah.
Jags defense played well against the run, at least for the most part, played well against the run. They kind of cracked in the fourth quarter because they were gas. Saints defensive line played awesome. But, like, both quarterbacks had some pretty crucial misses, Carr more so than Lawrence. Play calling was kind of suspect on both sides.
It really feels like both of them played down
To each other, right?
to themselves, right? Like they were like, "Oh, we're capable of this, so we're going to give you like 65% of that." And they both did that, and it equalized. And again, we believe that the Jaguars were the better team coming in and would probably win, and they did, but not in a convincing fashion, not by a large margin. I mean, essentially, yeah, it just felt like a lot of potential on both sides, like, left unrealized.
The position groups that I think had a good game were the defensive lines, the Jags corners.
Darius played a great game.
Darius played a great game. I would say for the most part, the Saints corners played pretty well too.
Well, yeah, Adebo had his bit. Lattimore, obviously.
I mean, the big one I think was given up by Tyron, not even by a corner. So, like, the outside corners for both teams played well. The defensive lines for both teams played well. That's kind of it. Like, I didn't feel like anybody else really had any other position group for either team really had like a great game. And still ended up being entertaining. It was still 31-24. But I come out of this game not really knowing that much more about either team. Like, I feel like
I would agree.
I feel like both teams equally left a lot of meat on the bones for various reasons. So does this make me second guess the Jags long term? Not really, because I still know what they're capable of. But much like the Eagles, I'm still waiting for the Jags to play the game that I think they are capable of. Like, I still haven't really seen that this year, of the Jags playing up to what I think they can do. And the Saints, I mean, I don't know what to think about the Saints. This is two back-to-back losses that were on paper extraordinarily winnable games that they just couldn't get it done. And I don't know what to think about them either. Like, the bones are there for the Saints to be a very solid team in the NFC and go to the playoffs and be a problem. The bones are there. But they, too, just cannot get out of their own way. Carmichael's got to go back to the drawing board. I don't know when their bye week is, but
well, the red zone especially.
The red zone's terrible. Their lack of the only playmakers it feels like they actually design things for are Taysom. And even then Kamara, like, a lot of his stuff is like, we're giving screens and we're giving like clear outs for him to just catch and run, but like, they're not like designing anything crazy for him. They're just creating space through clear outs. So, but in terms of like designing fun plays, they'll design stuff for Taysom, and they'll have like one or two things in for Shaheed, but they're not really designing anything for Olave, which he's your best receiver, and we're not giving him realistic opportunities to be a playmaker. I don't know, man. I'm not sure how I feel about the Saints right now.
Guess what's trending on Twitter?
What?
Fire Pete. Not surprising, but it is interesting. I mean, chat has mentioned Ridley several times in his disappearing act, and we just talked about Olave. Like, obviously the two premier receivers in this game, Ridley and Olave, centerpieces for their team. Were they tonight? Tough to say that they were. Certainly Ridley wasn't. Olave had this long drought between sort of late first and a little bit sort of early fourth, where just didn't feel like really anything went to him. And if you've got a receiver of his caliber, I don't care who's playing quarterback, I don't care who you have at running back, you got to have a couple of targets a quarter that go towards that guy, minimum.
And to think that when they finally were taking their shots to Ridley, it was on like low percentage prayers on 3rd and 10 down the sideline. It's like, you don't got anything else for him? Like, this is a legitimate wide receiver one in the NFL. You don't got anything else for Calvin Ridley? I don't know. Both coaching staffs I feel were not on their, and it's Thursday. They don't get as much time to prepare. I get it. Both coaching staffs I feel like were not on their A game. It was just all about the D lines and the DBs, and that was it.
Yeah. Regardless of who won this game, the film sessions on both sides
they're going to be rough.
Not going to be terribly pleasant. What are we doing here, folks? And it's going to go both ways. Players are going to have similar questions for the coaching staff, I think, if they're allowed to in their buildings, because it's difficult to look at this game, the way it was conducted, the outcome overall, and not go, yeah, but are you good? Are you going to get better? Why did this occur? Those questions exist for both teams.
Alex says Olave got 13 targets. You're correct. Olave did get 13 targets, but the thing is not all targets are created the same. 13 targets while only getting 6 catches for 49 yards. What does that tell you? That means that they were scheming up. Again, it was not even scheming up. A lot of his targets were, hey, go run a speed out underneath a bail corner and cover 3. That's not really that's not scheming up designed opportunities for him to be a playmaker. That is, I need you to go get 8 yards on 1st and 10, which is fine. That's totally fine. Hey, we're staying ahead of the chains. We're giving ourselves second and short opportunities. But you have a Ferrari and you're taking it to the grocery store, they're not dialing up in terms of, hey, Jags are a quarters heavy team in 2nd and 9+. They're a fire zone heavy team between 2nd and 5 and 2nd and 8. When we get stopped on 1st down and we know that we're likely going to get quarters, why are we not calling a quarters beater deep down the field if we're in shot territory at midfield? This is a scenario that actually happened. Why are we not calling a quarters, calling double post where we know we can hit Olave on the outside post when there's going to be no safety help and he's an excellent deep ball tracker? That's, if you're going to call up a shot, that's where you call up a shot where it's a high quarters percentage in that area of the field, in that down and distance. We know we're going to get it, and then instead we're calling another hitch. It's 13 targets, but not all the targets are the same. They're not targets that are giving him an opportunity to be the dynamic receiver that we know he can be, and that's what's frustrating about it.
Speaking of surprising stats from this game, as chat pointed out, Derek Carr threw it 55 times in this game.
On a bad groin, apparently. Not a recipe for success.
This is why stat watching and tape watching are different, and why we prescribe to the latter, not the former. Derek Carr, you could look at this and say, hey, he completed 33 balls for 300 yards, a touchdown, and he had a big day. He had a great day. Did he though? Go watch the tape. Do you feel like that was a dominant quarterbacking performance? And if you do, you and us are seeing very, very different things.
He got a lot of yardage towards the end of the game when the Jags defense was clearly very, very gassed. And credit to him, he hit a really nice hole shot to Taysom. The touchdown to Mike was awesome. There were a couple really good balls sprinkled in there. Obviously he had a game-tying touchdown
dropped.
A
lot of yak from Kamara.
Had a lot of yak from Kamara.
Yeah.
Alex said rich people need groceries too, but point taken. You're not wrong, Alex. You're not wrong. Rich people need groceries too. Again, it's not a bad thing that hey, we're giving them opportunities to get 8 yards and all the free stuff. I just wish they would also let him get the dynamic plays that we know he can get. This should be a true number 1 receiver in the league, and I feel like they're not using him that way. And it's just frustrating, right? Because he's productive, but we know what he could be.
Yeah, and guys on both sides. I mean, Ridley and Olave. That I think the argument is equally suited to both of them. Why are you not doing more things? Why are you not designing more things to create opportunities for those dynamic players who can be offensive drivers for your team? And instead, they're kind of afterthoughts, they're outlets. There's a couple of plays per game. It's just not enough. Like, we want to see more high quality plays to these players who we know can tilt the field in your favor. And to the Saints' credit, they leaned on Kamara. Like, what year is it? Like, that's they tilted the field in their favor with Kamara. It almost worked. I understand that, but we want to see him push the envelope on both sides. And neither team did it tonight. The Jags, if anything, if I had to characterize this one, backed into a win. And yeah, I think there's more in the tank, certainly for
both teams.
Both teams. Yeah, for both teams.
Neither of these teams played nearly up to their potential.
No, I would agree with that.
So if I'm a Jags fan, my takeaway here is A, we got to win, but B, we could still be so much better. And that's a positive thing. Like, the Jags have not topped out, and they're still in the lead in the division and are probably going to be a playoff team and an AFC contender and all this stuff. And they're still not even close to their apex. So that's the positive if I'm a Jags fan, is we're good. We could be great. Okay. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. I know we've lost a significant amount of viewers since the end of the game because everybody's going to bed because it's 11:30 at night on a Thursday out there. But if you stayed with us the entire time, we really do thank you. Remember, get your Underdog pick'ems in for Sunday. You can use our promo code BOOTLEG at the link in the description. They will match your deposit up to $500. If you're not sure what pick'ems you want to fill out on our episode previewing Sunday, we're going to go through game by game and highlight one player per game that we're picking and why we are picking them at the number that they're at. So hopefully you guys find that interesting, and if you don't believe in our selections, feel free to completely ignore everything we say. But if you do want to play Underdog with us this weekend, again, link is in the description below. We thank them for sponsoring. We thank Homage for also partnering with us. EJ's got an Homage shirt on. I've got my Homage starter jacket. So if you want any team gear, check out that link in the description below as well. Any sales directly benefit the show. We will see you guys tomorrow at some point with our Week 7 preview show.